everybody. What's going on? TCH Live. It's Tuesday night. That means it's time for some quarter 50.
Oh, really?
I am Aaron McAvoy. Joining me here tonight, of course, the one, the only, Mr. Ben Kirby. How you doing tonight, my friend?
Good evening, everyone. I'm good, Aaron. Good to be with you tonight. Excited for the game.
Absolutely, me as well. So getting things started here with a $250 PLO bomb pot. Build up these stacks right off the get-go, and then we'll get into the two-card game. As we get started here, going to take a look in the chat, see who all is hanging out with us already. We got Frank, we got David, Reyna. What's going on, guys? Fong, as well as Kicker Problems. How you guys doing tonight? Welcome to the show.
Yeah, for sure.
What's up, y'all? Shout out to everybody joining on time, bright and early. 6 p.m. here for the next 4 hours. This is pretty high stakes. If the flips are any indication, $250 blind from everyone, and the luckiest player wins. JD back in the mix, hoping for an impressive showing from him, as we always get. And yeah, hopefully the money flies tonight.
I imagine it will, as per the usual. So JD going to pick up the first bomb pot here, 1750, with the set of 8s on the flop holding up.
So typical. Everyone's annoyed with this, guaranteed.
They said, like, we got to draw for it.
What?
So, like, yeah.
Why they draw a button when we draw seats?
That's what they said.
Come on,
So
people.
Right,
Coming off
so
the back of a major
Hey, I'm not
tournament
complaining. I'm not
series here at
complaining.
TCH Dallas. Appreciate everybody showing up and showing out for that. It looked like a very good time. Wish I could have fired, but I missed who won, but it looked like a pretty stacked final table.
Yeah.
Everybody had a good time playing that tournament.
Yeah, that was it was a very fun tournament to call the final table. So I was on the
you were
air
there.
here with.
That's a rare sight, the Aaron McAvoy tournament
money,
sighting.
George, huh?
Yeah, so yeah, tournaments of course are one of my favorite things of all time. Love to play them, and doing the commentary also a jolly good time. So that was a great time. To everybody that was there with us on Sunday evening, welcome back, and hope you did enjoy that show, and I hope you are looking forward to a full night of top level poker here on TCH Live. As Jay here, first hand of No Limit, going to wake up with the birds, #1.
As ZeFish is concerned, nothing like starting the session looking down on the first hand, 2 pointy boys, the aces, and ZeFish coming off of a heater of a showing last week, looking to repeat that another week in a row. J-Rock coming along with a price 10-9 off.
Practice side or anything?
Can also do the weather.
Decent flop here, all things considered, for Jay. Does check it back, though. An interesting decision here. Or I guess he's up front, so just checks it first to act.
J-Rock picking up the proverbial world, picking up spades and open-ended.
Yeah, Jay going to start betting now. Perhaps he was going to go for the check raise on the flop, and that was his intention. No one bit, and so now here we are. Jay just going to be happy to sort of check call down out of position. Deuce pairs the board on the end. Pretty much the best card in the deck.
Yeah, he loves it now. Every king feels like they need to pay him. Maybe a lot of the good jacks have to pay him. Thinking about a price, $2,500 in the middle.
Big chunky size here. And yeah, that doesn't leave any room for his opponent to even think about going for a bluff raise.
Hey, taking down a nice sizable $4,500 pot. $1,500 in profit, good way to start. The thing about this is you got to maintain it for 4 straight hours. At the top of the leaderboard is JD and Jay. Got a lot of poker to be played over the next 4 hours.
Yeah, and as we can see there, we do have Colin and Ram coming in as well. So we'll have those gentlemen joining us here before you know it. Got a couple more people trickling in here. We got TLS, we've got Mitchell. What's going on, guys? Negligible, welcome. OFC and Mo the Cat. How you guys doing? Santiago as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Tariq, ace king of clubs.
They have the new cards.
Good for a raise.
Really good.
It's the old ones, right? The big, yes, those are, yeah, they're nicer. They're big.
Big index and a little bit thicker again. Nice card. A lot nicer than before, yeah.
Wow,
Yes,
big
yes,
hands already here.
Trying to get these levels right. Jeez, 2 queens for Jay. Unbelievable. Aces and queens back to back.
Yeah, relatively small squeeze here from the small blind, just going up to 500. A lot of times you'll see these bets out of position take it up a notch. Sreek going to re-raise as well.
Let's go.
And Jay will make the call. So going to play this one out of position, but my goodness.
Top for Shriek. What a dream board. Ace King. Maybe not a dream board, but you like to hit top here in a 4-bet pot.
Yeah, I think this is pretty dreamy, all things considered. The 5 and the 3 just really not going to interact with your opponent's 4-bet calling range, and you are just feeling pretty good about life right now. Jay here, of course, in the 4-bet pots. Queen's going to shrivel up a whole lot on ace and king high boards, so going to be feeling the heat here. It is, of course, possible that Sreek could have some sort of ace-5 suited combination. Still 3 of those out there. Some ace-4 maybe every once in a while, but yeah, the queens here just really feels like, you know, you just really didn't want to see the ace or the king out there, and he is just going to let this go to a single bet on the flop.
Nice fold from Jay, giving up his previously won profits, and Shriek taking down a nice one. 1,600 in profit. The ace king suited. And that's poker, folks. Jay having won a nice one in the hand before, now back in the red. Swings are going to happen. This game can be pretty swingy. Winning and losing entire full-size SUVs in one hand.
Absolutely right. Mitchell here in the chat says, doing well, looking for carnage.
Ooh.
All right, well, I'm sure we will have some of that. We've already seen, just in our first 2 hands, aces, ace, king, and queens. So plenty of big hands going around already.
I like that energy.
Even in practice, if it didn't like
Big pots, max pain only for the people.
It was just like stormy and wet. Like we played anyway because like we played a bunch of games in the wet too. So
Up here for J-Rock.
No, not today's. They don't play messing up the field, so they can't lose.
Yeah, he'll just go ahead and lead at this. Single raise top 3 flop. He's got the top pair, third kicker. Just sort of find out where he's at, you know, lead into that, see what happens, and everybody gets out of the way.
OFC Sean in the chat. JD's going to kill it today. That's a pretty safe bet. OFC's maybe learned that lesson a time or two. It's also booked his own significant wins in his time. OFC, maybe we'll see you for the Wednesday night game. Who knows? And tell us about that car in your profile picture as well.
Getting hosed off before I was allowed to get in the car, you know. Like, I think he probably got hosed it. Yeah.
Bunch of rags. JD with his ace king. His turn. OFC called it. Let's see. ZeFish with the tanks. Classic.
Yeah, button versus small blind here. I see a lot of 3-betting out of the small blind. Definitely can be doing this with a wide range of hands. Ace King going to be well ahead of that range. Can definitely play this both ways. Just call, leave all of the sort of Ace X that you are completely dominating in there, and give them a chance to get coolered on the ace high flop. Or just go ahead and put more money in the middle right now while you are feeling like you have the best hand, which is the order of operations here for JD. So ZeFish makes the call, and here we go. Heads up to a flop, deuce, deuce, tray, rainbow. Good board for JD to continue betting, although ZeFish is going to have a lot of these middling pairs that aren't going anywhere, so it has to be careful about what size he goes for and how he continues across multiple streets. 700 is the bet.
JD trying to tell the massive overpair story, but ZeFish is right there with him where you don't see him folding tens very often.
Yeah, and the small quarter pot size continue there is really just designed to sort of maintain control of the betting lead and see a turn card for a good price. If he does have aces or kings, of course, like this is just the most brilliant board in the world, and his opponent is going to need to hit something like a 2-outer to improve to a winner, so can just keep betting small across multiple streets as well. Does check the 5 of spades here without a spade in hand. Queen of clubs peels off on the end. Not the best card in the world for ZeFish, but not one that he is going to be too concerned about.
Blocker inbound. $1,900. $1,800.
Yeah, this is a pure value raise here, or bet rather, not necessarily even the traditional block size here, right around half pot.
I've seen JD rip it in these spots and also just make the fold. I guarantee you that's what he's thinking. Maybe not ripping it. Well, yeah, stack for ZeFish's stack. He's either ripping it or folding it.
This is a little bit of a curious line. I mean, yeah, it's like the queen, like all the ace queens just got there and can bet for value for the half pot size. Yeah, the only hand that he's really worried about, I guess, most of the time that bets here as a bluff is just ace-jack. Maybe ace-10 suited that is just like, all right, I can fire at this, try to get ace-king exactly to fold. And so JD did have to think that one through a little bit. The half pot size, just chunky enough to be like, okay, maybe this is a little bit of a bluff, but also going to be a ton of value in there. And perhaps a little bit surprised to see the tens in there. I mean, maybe I'm just a little bit too cautious in these spots, checking those tens and letting my opponent try to rep the queen and just go for the check call. But yeah, ZeFish, they're happy to go for value. Obviously, I think.
Do you think that could be a maybe? I mean, no, a merge. I guess against exactly jacks. I guess.
Oh yeah, jacks are just never folding, and you would know that. I think in ZeFish's spot. Yeah, any pair that's beating tens is not going to fold, in my opinion. Anyway,
yeah,
I think JD certainly just going to snap that one off if he did ever have jacks in a bet check call line.
So ZeFish continuing his dominance from last week's high stakes game. We'll see if he can continue. It's kind of a, I mean, the hand in some ways played itself with that setup, button versus small blind.
I'm not gonna complain. I know you're
JD got unlucky there, and ZeFish fortunate enough for the tens to hold up. When a nice sized one.
You gotta be honest with yourself.
Yeah, it is always interesting though to like think through how the hand would have gone had, say for example, JD just called the 3-bet, right? Because then it's going to be a brilliant flop for ZeFish. However, JD can still be uncapped. He can still just call with aces, kings, you know, just the top of his range as well, as we see Shorshi here.
Golly, dude.
With the pocket kings this time.
Basically every hand for the last 30 minutes has involved premiums. Or most
I know
hands.
you can play golf in any weather. You won't, but you could.
Oh, yeah, yes, for sure.
J-Rock here with the decision. Does he want to play his button for another 475? And he says, yes, I do.
They're suited. They're gapped. Lots of possibilities.
Gut shot and backdoor heart opportunities here for J-Rock, but all things considered, not the most inspiring flop. We'll see if Shorshi sort of prices him in to continue across one more street. looks like he does. Only 450 here. Nice little down bet.
Just a little bit.
And that will bring J-Rock along for the ride.
Susceptible to issue when
Jack makes things even worse for J-Rock.
Yeah, of all the cards that you can see on the turn, though, the Jack really not going to be particularly inspiring. However, Shorshi slows it down with a check, giving J-Rock an opportunity to just kind of take a free river. But
Same
instead,
bet.
he's going to stab at this
Almost
for
same
a
bet.
very small size.
Super small, interesting check and result by Shorshi. Now what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, this board is kind of connected. You know, Queen Jack is there, but there's a lot of just Queen 10 and other such stuff like that you're still well up ahead of, but your opponent has some additional equity. Let's see how he plays this.
Oh,
Yeah,
a rip.
it's the check jam. This is sort of what I was thinking. As like, if you're beat, you're beat. You're still going to have live outs always.
it's hard to survive the first week. It's just like,
So why not
just
just
so
put
many
money and
games
put your
that you're
opponent to the
taking
ultimate
all
test?
the
And J-Rock here now is wishing that he had gone for the check back here on the turn to see that river for free. And that's always the danger of betting small in position. You reopen the pot and it doesn't really show a lot of strength. You're either like super nutted and you're just like, come along, like it's only 550 or 525 or whatever. Or it's a hand like this where you're just trying to like get a free river check back, right? Because like you have the betting lead and your opponent is just going to check to you a lot of the time. But it looks like it's just too small of a bet. Anyways, all of that goes out the window when Shorshi just has like top of range here. But still, the story that you're telling and what you're trying to accomplish, all of that stuff factors in, and it can be really dangerous to put in those small bets in position, as we're seeing here. And what does J-Rock want to do? He's still got the gut shot in his mind. Of course, the 10 comes in and he will lose to the higher straight. So those cards actually not working for him, just the 5 outs between the jacks and the 8s left in the deck.
Shorshi going to take down 7,000. 1,700 in profit. Pretty nice result for the Kings.
Games like the lines, you don't bet like over-unders and stuff, or
I try to stay
So J-Rock here, a little bit of a J-Rocky start, but he will be looking to work his way back up, as we've only gone one orbit around the table.
Wow. Yeah, J-Rock likes to play. I don't think he would consider himself a pro. Maybe he would. I've never talked with him, but just from my sense of
usually if I'm gonna put down a bet, I'll just
him versus
only do
guys
it on
like
big games, you know, Super Bowl,
JD and
like,
maybe even Shorshi. I don't think he's
You know you're going to be watching
claims to be a pro or even wants to be a pro.
a lot at stake.
World Series. It's just like the big
Players
and
of
it's like
all
this, like,
sorts
3
here
times
on
a year.
TCH Live, and
That's
that's what we always appreciate. And if you are out there watching this live stream and would love to get in the mix, either on this show in particular or a different live stream throughout the week, you can always reach out to us and
Real
get
trick is to, like,
yourself
little pocket,
on
you know,
the
like,
list.
kind of
Mallory
is like
takes care of the lineups
slippery
for
slope, man.
the Dallas streams.
All it takes is the buy-in and an email. No other qualifications. We prefer you be entertaining and be good for action, but all are welcome. It comes spades and wheel draw on the flop for Jay versus Shriek, who's got a pair and did have backdoor diamonds, but now those dreams are just dreams.
Jay going to continue telling the story here. Says 550 to go now. And yeah, tricky spot here for Shriek. Doesn't pick up any additional equity on this turn, so it's really just like, does my opponent just have like a nothing burger, some overcards or whatever? But yeah, the 5 really isn't feeling too hot at this point. Let's go. Jay going to take things.
Windy rain. I'm glad your ass is cold.
Jay taking it down. A queen 4 ball.
I lure them in and then. Right.
Could have taken a free card.
So let's see as we get hand number 9 here coming at you guys in just a moment. Got a question for you there, Ben. You started the OA the last time that we started talking, or the last time that we had a live stream together. Where are you at in the series, and what do you think of it? Where you're at now?
Man, we watched. We're deep into season 2 now,
Okay.
and stuff is wild
Yeah.
in the OA.
It was identical. Like, scene
My
for
wife
scene.
and I were both sitting there last
Like,
night,
2 episodes.
basically
They
going
split
like,
it up.
"What
The
the
only thing that I found
WTF?" I mean,
about the whole season
the people that wrote this
is
show
the beginning I found very nice.
were
They
on
take so much
something. I
time
mean,
for
it is
everything.
wild.
They
It's
try to
super
really,
entertaining.
build the
But
character,
I think we said at the end, it's like
tells
it's
you
impossible to
episode,
predict
example is like very
what is going to happen in this
building
freaking
and
show
like,
because
you
it
know.
is.
But
I
then all of a
don't have any better
sudden,
word
the
for it, but
last
it is
2 episodes
wild.
So rushed and things happen so quick.
But we like
Oh.
it.
You like it? Okay, good.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
hearing wild and crazy and stuff.
No,
like,
no,
I'm
we
hoping
like
that
it.
there's I also
No,
like
we like
it.
it. So far, you're 2 for 2 on recommendations on shows, and we've both really, really liked them. It's just taken a minute for us to get through.
Yeah, you guys rip-roared through Dark for sure.
Yeah, we got hooked real early on that. And the OA, we've just been traveling a little more and haven't been able to sit down. But it's man,
in the game,
sure so good. But I'm annoyed knowing that
Those parts are
I don't know
longer,
how it's going to resolve, but
they're
also I know
longer
that it's not
Because you play them.
coming for a season
Well, yeah,
3,
but
as I
you
understand
play
it.
them and
So
it's
I'm
like a
already
video
kind of
game,
annoyed
so, like,
about it.
Yeah, no, that part is definitely
Well, it's just more like you gotta
annoying.
fight.
I was very
so, like,
sad to find
when he
out
goes to, like,
that
try
it
to
was not
rescue or
going to
whatever, he
be
has to, like,
continued for a third
you
season.
fight
But
100
Does it have a
people.
cult
Which is
following?
like in the show would be like a little.
yes, yeah. So the OA is sort
Or,
of
at the end
like
when they're headed towards,
Firefly
like, you know, the
in
hospital
that.
or whatever, you know,
Let's see.
go
Have
through
you
the
watched
subway
Firefly?
and fight, like,
Nuh-uh,
zombie,
not yet.
you know.
Oh, okay. Well, that's number 3
There's these
then
parts
for
where,
you.
like, yeah.
Okay.
So Firefly had a
also
massive
they said,
cult
like, the
following.
ending
It
was
was
a lot
only
different
live
in the
for
game
one season,
Because
and then when
in
it
the
was
game, like,
canceled, all of the
given
diehard fans like
choices at the end,
basically,
like, you're still kind of
Protested.
you know,
Protested.
like
Like,
set up,
Joel
you know, a picket line or whatever. And we're like, you guys
you are
have to
Joel,
bring the
right?
show
Like, you play
back.
as-
And
so
what
you
ended up
have-
happening
you have
is
to
that
go and, like,
I get it.
Joss
like
Whedon,
these people,
the
you know, like,
the director
Story works a little different.
and writer,
It just hits
he
differently, 'cause, like, now
basically
you're
convinced one of the
Just
big
watching people, but you're not the
production companies. I don't remember who produced it, but he
as a
convinced
player,
one of
you
them
get to,
to
like,
put
that-
together a full movie
you have to
that
deal
was
with the turmoil
basically
yourself, 'cause
what
they're-
he had envisioned for season 2, condensed down into just a couple of hours or like an hour and a half, whatever, and was able to get that funded, put together the final sort of show as a theatrical release, and it got good reviews. It was a very good culmination of the story, I thought.
Was it called Firefly, the movie?
The movie was called Serenity, which was the
Okay.
name of the ship in Firefly. But you'll
Yeah,
have
the
to
show
watch
just, you know, they're
Firefly
just like, why do you make that choice?
to
And then,
see
like,
if
then
it
all of a
piques
sudden
your
it's
interest
like
enough
superhero,
to
you
go
know,
and watch the movie
then
Love
it's
it.
like-
to bring it
Yeah.
all together. But
You're kind of putting like a lose.
that's like my third
You're
one
gonna
on
kind
the
of force your hand
overall
against
list
that
of my my favorite shows. So
guys
I
watch,
think you'll get a kick out of it.
Heck yeah. Well, we're believers now
I'm making
of the Aaron McAvoy school of TV.
All right, perfect.
Like whatever
TV
noise-
and
whatever
made-for-TV
noise
movies.
they make.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's right.
It's not a.
Well, good. I'm glad to
computer.
hear it.
It's like
I'm
actually
always happy
humans
to
doing it.
share
I can
my
can make the noise, I
TV
think.
show selections because they're not ones that a lot of people have heard of before. And I'm like,
Right.
I don't know how these are not popular TV shows. Like, I think everybody should have just like blown this up and told all their friends about it. So, anyways, I'm happy to be part of the grapevine on this.
Love it. Yeah,
Anyways.
it's the collective TV tastes are interesting, or like what sells mainstream.
Just did the first one just now.
I mean, it's just like with anything. There's certain people have certain tastes, and the thing that appeals to the common denominator is what gets most popular.
There's only
But
2 video games. There's like the first one.
I like something that makes you think a bit and has. I'm team suspense. I don't care about horror, but I like something that makes you feel something.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And the OA will do that. Oh, my
Yeah.
God. That show. That'll reach right into your chest and grab right a hold of your heart. Man.
That's right.
All right. So ace high flop here.
No, I meant like
That'd be a quick little bet here from Matt. And
storyline of the
opponents have
games is done.
Squadouche, so he'll take
They
this
just
one
gotta-
down.
Well, so like, yeah. So I haven't played the second game.
I'm not sure Matt's story. I don't recognize him. He could have played on the stream before and on a night that I didn't commentate, but don't recognize him.
Yeah. So he's much
If
older,
he's a
so,
newcomer, best of
I was
luck.
gonna say like 10 years in the future, but like maybe 8 years in the future.
After winning that
If
pot,
F4 is
just
a bunch, so,
down
Are they just gonna
$100.
jump to that, or are they gonna like
Couple of big blinds, no big
fill in
deal.
canon story in between, or like,
ZeFish, Shorshi, Streak, our 3 winners so far.
It's gonna
And
take
if they
like
jump to that, then that's cool. Then they do it, but then after that, then Then what? You know?
There's always one of
I guess
those.
they should do
There's always one of those. You know,
because they, like the actress,
I do like
she's not gonna
Tough
endless
day.
hours of high-level
Yeah, they have to
analysis
choose a
on this show.
They will not.
For anybody that has tuned in for longer than like 5 minutes knows that that's the
They
case.
confirm she's gonna
And
be
obviously, you know, back and forth talking analysis and the hands with you, but you know, like just a couple of minutes of anything
they can
off
make her, like,
topic and
just-
just
Yeah, they can make her
full-blown
look good.
meltdown. But you know what? Such is life.
And she'll age.
You didn't fulfill the contract
Probably made her
that we
look
all
like-
implicitly signed.
Oh my goodness. All right, so we've got a limp. And now a raise to 200. Called by J-Rock. Shorshi going to go for the squeeze here out of the straddle with a couple of 10s. And now things are going to be tricky on JD and J-Rocks.
15 effective. Let's play a big one, but JD
Be an
decides.
early night for me. I'm all in.
J-Rock's going to back raise shove with the 2 6s.
Fine. I got a pair too, but it's not that good.
I like a son of that. 2 times.
Yeah, just sort of hoping that Shorshi is on big cards and can get a double up, but gonna need to find a lucky 6 or some sort of straight. Both of his suits are covered.
I can live with that one. I
Robbie
can-
flop.
No good for me.
Oh, all right.
Another 4 for a
No.
chop?
Oh yeah.
That's okay.
To be
Forward
forceful
is
of 10s.
Okay.
2 times.
No 8.
There we go.
Like that.
Yeah.
One more crack at it.
Take one of those.
Four or Jack would have been good there.
All right, all right,
so-
all right.
Oh, it's over.
You get a running
Unless it goes
straight, you
6-6.
have 6
Well, unless it goes Jack Queen.
Or Jack Queen.
No.
Yeah, let's not forget about the Jack
Well,
Queen run out.
7 or 8 is the win.
I need a 7 or an 8? No, 7. No.
Or spade.
Both.
Oh, no. No, Shorty's got spade. Excuse me. Sorry.
All right, guys.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
a
J-Rock,
devastating
yeah,
flop
well,
for
it's
sure,
fine.
but the turn did bring
Drop
just the
two,
tiniest bit of
game.
No,
life.
it's all good. All good. Appreciate you coming out.
All right, so
J-Rock, one and done for the night. Best of luck out there, J-Rock. He may not have won tonight, but he's probably winning in life. So see you next time, J-Rock. Always appreciate you joining us.
yeah, so we do know that Colin and Ram are coming, but just have not quite taken their seats
But
yet.
sure,
But
you're the 50.
hang tight. We will have
Am I saying
a
that right?
mostly full table here momentarily, and then whoever was on the list waiting for a spot to open up
Got all in
is
free
going to have their opportunity to get in here as well.
Probably.
Yeah, Rom generally is good for action. When he sits down, typically the dynamic in the game will shift. So excited to see him sit down and play. It's been a while. Very good player, good for action.
Yeah, this one.
But for the meantime, we'll be 6 max poker. Nine eight of spades for Jay, if the reading is correct.
All right, here's a poker-related question for you. What's your take on how you stack your chips? We've got a couple players here that go with the line mentality, and then and everybody else sort of the cluster mentality. What's your take on it?
It tends to change over time, I guess, depending on
All you musical
how I'm doing in the game. But I generally like to go, since I'm playing mostly limit, I like to go 40 high, and we'll generally do the line, so I don't have to use 2 hands to hide my cards.
Okay.
But then other times, I'll do the, I like to do the whatever pyramid.
Where you kind of just interlace them all, and yeah, the typical sort of cluster.
Yep, exactly.
Gotcha.
What do you do?
Okay. I'm a cluster guy for sure. Definitely work towards a triangle. You know, keep my biggest chips at the front of the triangle or the pyramid, however you want to call it, and then work back to the smallest chip denominations in the back.
Nice, to avoid any Torelli situations.
Exactly. And I'm a 30 stack guy, so I like the
30 stack, okay.
yeah, the 30 stacks, which can't quite tell if Jay is working with the 30 stacks there, but it looks like he might be.
Rom is historically known for doing like the 50-plus stack. He likes to go real high with it. And I wouldn't say these chips are the best for that. You've played up here before. They're kind of the slick composite chips, but once you get those like salty old Paulson chips that you can stack to the ceiling, that's when it really gets good.
Yeah, where they're just like sort of almost magnetic and
Yeah.
they just stick to one another.
Right.
Yeah, you can get those stacked pretty high. So here at TCH Austin, we've actually just in the last couple of days switched over to our newest chipset.
Oh, really?
And it is a fantastic chipset. If you haven't been into TCH Austin in a little while and you are in or around the area, do come in, check us out. See the new chips, new cards as well. So brand new
love it.
setups all around. The dealers have new name tags. I mean, we're really just popping off here right now.
The aesthetic game elevated.
That's right. And the chips are more similar to what you guys have there in Dallas. A little bit different color scheme, but by and large pretty similar. And I really love them. The texture on the chips is fantastic.
Great.
There's like a little bit of it's almost like a cross hatching in the outer layer of the plastic. And so the chips, while they're smooth, they're also have just a little bit of roughness. I guess what I would liken it to is your fingers. You know, you've kind of got the fingerprints that give you that little bit of texture, but otherwise it's mostly smooth. And so the chips kind of stick to each other, but they're also pretty slick still.
Nice.
So yeah, it's fantastic. They're really good chips. I'm a big fan. And the 1Ks are these fantastic burnt orange pumpkins.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Are they bigger in diameter?
They are a little bit bigger. They are an oversized chip, yes.
Sweet, that's cool. We'd love to have some one day.
Yeah. Well, you have to come down and play some Deuce 7 single with us,
Dude,
and
yes.
you can earn yourself some pumpkins.
That's Wednesdays, right? All day?
We start around 4 p.m. and we usually go until somewhere around 4 a.m. So, yeah, Wednesdays into Thursday wee hours. Those are the times for Deuce 7. We will be in there firing away tomorrow, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Potentially the only Deuce to 7 single draw cash game in the country.
I doubt that very much. So it is a rare game in terms of like what the standard spread is in any of the certainly Texas card rooms or casinos around the land, but it's a game that has such a storied history and such an amazing vibe that literally now that we've been running this game, I say we, I was one of the first players to play the game, but didn't organize it, but now sort of claim a little bit of ownership of the game since I play each and every week. We have been seeing new players getting on the list, coming in and being like, what are you guys doing in here? Sweating hands, trying to figure it out, right? Like, we have gotten to the point now where there will be the regulars that are there each and every week, and then a pretty sizable handful of people that are like, you know what, I might play next week, or I might play tonight, or whatever, and put themselves on the list. And we've had a number of people just come in and be like, I've never played this before, I understand kind of how it works, can I sit down with $200 and play? And we're like, yes, take a seat. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's about building the community, getting people more aware of it, and understanding just how much fun it is. And I think the game could actually really start to take off.
Yeah, that's so cool, especially like as a dedicated spread of the game. Like, I've played all over and have rarely seen a dedicated Deuce 7 single draw game of any stake. Generally, it's in the mix at various levels, but full ring Deuce 7 single draw no limit is very rare, and it's cool that y'all are building a recurring crew to play that there. It's kind of like what we've tried to do with the mixed game up here in Dallas. Is you got to build some consistency, and I don't help this because I can't make it much anymore, but back when I could make it takes work to like get one of those games to turn into a recurring type thing like the 5-card PLO8 is now, which maybe a few years ago you'd have to work to get it started.
Yeah, absolutely. JD here going to flop bottom 2 pair Sreek. Looking at a board that isn't terrible, but also, yeah, he's going to bet 200 here and just really hope that he takes this down. JD likely has different ideas. And is just going to call here, not going to check raise given the connectedness of the board and playing out of position. So likely to see this go check now on the turn, but we'll see if Sreek has different ideas.
No restrictions over there, right?
It is illegal, but nobody cares.
does indeed check it back. Actually, a good card here for Streak's range. JD may look to check and let him bet for value. He could also just go ahead and bet and hope to get called by any of the ace-x hands that improve the top pair on the end, and that is the line he'll go for, 2/3
And then they made their own. Like,
lead. But Streak beats just about nothing. Maybe Queen 9, Queen Jack, you know, these hands that are just somehow floating the flop, Queen Jack of diamonds or something, and didn't decide to start betting. On the turn.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a little think, but pretty tough to make the call here.
Oh,
He
he's
does make the call, though.
calling maybe in the like event that JD has naked busted hearts or something.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at a board that's this distributed and you have the threes in your hand, right? Like, it's really hard to have any two cards that don't actually make a pair or something. So, yeah, it's really just those Broadway combinations that could even be a part of that. But he was up against a big blind range, too, or a straddle range, calling from the pre-flop action. So pretty ambitious call there, but you know, if he makes the call and is right, he gets to run over the threes and look like a hero. So that's cool.
Yeah, at least Shriek sent the message to JD that it's going to cost more to bluff him as he looks down at the 2 jacks, the 2 Juliets. I saw your video. I didn't see her session, but I'm assuming she won over 5,000.
Yeah, so she played on the stream, and I was sweating it because it was the Wednesday stream during the Deuce to 7 game. So I'm sitting there playing Deuce to 7 single and watching the stream on my phone, and the graphics had shown that she had bought in for a certain amount and whatever, and like her profit was X amount of dollars. So going into the final hand of the night, which was a bomb pot hand, she was up like 40
we have a seat already.
some hundred, like 46.50. And here I am thinking that she needs to make $350 to like make the 5K point. So she goes for this big bluff, a check raise bluff
I just told her.
on the river into a hand that just isn't going to fold. And I'm like, oh, she was going for it. She's going to come up just short. Like, obviously I wanted her to win, but like to not lose the bet. If she lost that hand, I was going to be golden. It comes to find out, as JD here is going to bet the flop here after 3-betting pre-flop. I'll come back to the story in just a moment because as JD bets this, Streak, of course, going nowhere. The overpair. King of clubs here. Decent card to rep if you're JD, but with no club in hand, you just on a 0 equity bluff at this point. Let's see if he decides to give it up or if he'll keep going.
JD with a single solitary out. The lone ace of hearts.
Oh, I think Axel is coming.
This board feels scary. He's checking.
Axel.
Shriek with the world, it feels like.
Streak checks it back, keeps the pot manageable, and it's another pair on board. 9s and 8s out there. JD is playing the ace kicker, but certainly bluff catching type hand here, especially out of position. Let's see how Streak approaches his spot. Okay, he is just going to take his showdown. Makes a lot of sense there. Your hand is very marginal, and can you really get called by a worse hand?
Right.
Would have been interesting to see if he bet. I mean, and again, you don't want to bet small. Like if you bet like 1/3 pot or something, like that's just opening the pot back up, and JD can hammer you. So you'd have to go for a larger size, and he just wasn't willing to do it with the jacks. Makes a ton of sense, but some sicko players will just be like, okay, I'm gonna get an ace high to call me here because like they're not gonna want to fold. Like they're just not going to want to. I can have the jack 10s, the queen 10s, the queen jacks that are all just dust to an ace high. And if I'm going to bluff with those, I need to have some value. And how many full houses do I have here? You know, not a ton. So anyways, going back to finish my story there. So the stream ends. I think that I've won the bet. And then Juliet blows up my DMs, and she's like, oh, I got you. Like, you got to do the push-ups and the shot. And I was like, wait, but the screen showed that you only made like 3,500 after her failed bluff, right? She's like, oh, no, the graphics were wrong. I bought in for this much. I had this much. So we got it clarified that she had made like over 6K.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, well, and Snap went out and did the push-ups, took the broth bomb, and posted it onto social.
I'll go back to it for sure.
I mean, what a sick run for her to just call her shot, call the number too, and just hit it.
Yeah, yeah. She. And I don't know if you watched any of that stream, but part of her winning the 6K that night was going for a massive all-in pre-flop with 7 deuce off because they were playing the 7 deuce game. Goes for a massive all-in pre-flop for like 3,500. They run it twice, and she was up against ace queen suited that Snap called her pre, and she won both run-outs.
Oh my
God! It was savage, dude. It was absolutely savage.
Oh man, that feels unjust. Mad. About to
I mean,
be
I was happy to
rewarded.
do the push-ups and the broth bomb, but like, I mean, the dude that she beat in that hand for sure
Had
was
to
feeling
be-
like he got robbed.
Right.
Last time I went snowboarding, which has been years ago now, I listened to a lot of
Mad here, his turn.
Yellow
with
card.
number
That's
1.
big on their soundtrack.
25
Turkey. I like
from
yellow
behind
card.
Jack. Jay will make the call in the cutoff, and these are the only two players that will see a flop. Jay in position, Mad with the betting lead, 550 in the middle.
7 deuce rainbow.
The other kid.
Off a flop that Jay had in mind.
Just gonna swipe your hand.
2 overs, and Jay quickly gets out of the way.
That was a fun one. I think I played on PlayStation. I think I played on Xbox.
JD,
You specifically said,
What's up, Griff? Welcome.
you should be worried. Now that
Stream.
Cashman's
What's up?
on your left,
is that the trick?
Shorshi winning 4,000.
4 buttons in orbit.
Good night so far.
Pay up.
Previously felting J Rock with those 2 kings. Looks like maybe a new player inbound.
This is the stack from 2-5.
Colin in the mix for the K.
Yeah, so Colin will be in the 4 seat, and then we've got the 2 seat still available. Ram will be in the 7 when he arrives. At least that's what we have on the screen right now.
Somebody's in trouble. Ooh.
Oh, it's Cashman. Wonder why he's going by Colin now.
Oh no, Colin's going to be in the 4, so Cashman taking the 2 seat. The 2 seat
Oh,
was
excuse
open.
me.
Rob? Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get Cashman mic'd up over there, and as we do, we'll play a hand here between Shorshi and Sreek, battle of the Broadway cards in the blind.
Here we go.
The top pair versus second pair. That's correct, Griff. It was, you know, these players had those seats locked up. They were on their way, but weren't here at the start of the program, so we have them in the leaderboard, but had not played a hand yet. We do see Colin taking a seat there with a pretty sizable stack. Those are 1Ks over there in the back.
Colin DeShazo.
Saturday, what time you went home?
Fayetteville, Arkansas. Rep it for the Hogs. At least that's
I
what his
left
Hinden
at
mob says.
2:30.
Okay.
And it was just
Shorshi bets flop, checks turn, and
Derek
calls
and, that other
the
guy, I
small
forget
bet
the
here
name.
from
They played some pro-
Sreek.
a little bit.
We're
They
pairing
said they're gonna play
4
20
here
minutes.
on
I
the
don't know how
end.
that went.
Shorshi will check out of position
up
here,
at the
playing
end.
second
I
pair
was-
with the toppest of kickers, and Sreek here going to be happy to go for a little bit of value. Oh, and little value
Yeah, literally the
indeed.
very last hand I,
450 is the
had
bet.
versus Derek got
So 1/3 sizing. You usually
No,
see
but I mean,
something half pot or
like 20, 50
larger,
glass,
but
we're
gets
playing
it
like
paid off
2
and
so
drags
like,
a nice
it's
little
like, it's
$2,200
10K,
pot.
Okay.
10,325 on the dot. In one. 10,326.
The one doesn't
You been following the March Madness at all? You NCAA basketball guy?
Yeah, big Arkansas fan, and so we just had this very unexpected win against Kansas this weekend, and so we're on to Vegas to play. Who are we playing?
Talk to you later, but he got mad at you for
Not sure, but we weren't expecting it to make it this deep. But we've got another game on Thursday.
I will talk later.
Yeah, Arkansas playing a pretty stout team as well. Let's see, I do have that on my phone here. I was looking at it earlier, so I'm going to pull that up.
You was already warming up.
Never playing again with this guy.
He had no problem. He had no problem with the way George left.
Yeah, so a couple of pretty exciting games for sure. Michigan State, Kansas State, that should be a good one. Both of those teams really looking good. Arkansas playing UConn
Oh yeah,
on Thursday should be a good matchup. At
In
this
Vegas-
stage, it's kind of tough for it to not be good matchups, but at the same time, when you have a couple of sort of underdog teams that make it deep, you kind of expect them to peter out at some point. But
right. Yeah, you at least hope it's entertaining and not just a blowout.
yeah.
More chance.
Yeah, it's like when you get to the Sweet 16 and you're up against that 15 seed and you're like, no chance that these guys show up for a third game in a row, right? Like, can't we beat them? And sometimes that is indeed the case, and other times, you know, like with Princeton this year, we'll see if they can take it all the way
Oh yeah.
to the Elite Eight or beyond.
Yeah, so far pretty fun championship series so far. They're living up to its name. Like it is the sheer scale of how there's 0 perfect brackets left is just, I guess it's expected, but also just wild to think about how not a single person with all of the abilities like to do multiple brackets can't get a perfect one because just the like number 1 seeds falling in the first and second round. It's just wild every year.
Yeah, I mean, the second time in the history of the tournament that a number 1 seed has lost in the opening round, and that it was like 1 for 149 or something like that,
Yeah.
all the way up until just a couple of years ago when it happened for the first time against to Virginia, and then just a couple of years later here we have another one. I mean, you know, the dam has broken. Now the 1 seeds are no longer safe.
Right.
As Mad here is going to wake up with the number 1. Can he find his way onto the next round? Shorshi going to continue with Jack 10-0. So see a flop between these two players.
Gavin with the Woo Pig Suey. That's right, Woo Pig Suey back to you. It's nice to have something to cheer for as an Arkansas fan every once in a while.
Did you fire on Saturday, Chris?
King high board, 2 hearts. Mad with aces again. 6 hundo insta fold.
I think we played before.
So, yeah, I don't really follow college basketball until the tournament starts, and then I kind of, you know, dig around a little bit, usually try to find out who to go for. But what was your feeling going into the tournament? Did you think Arkansas as an 8 seed was sort of, you know, the right number for them? Did you think that was a little bit high or too low, or what?
Oh man, they were so I can't remember what the stat was, but it was something like Arkansas was a top 10 team in the country in the first half, and then like a bottom 10 team in the second half, and so they just could never. It didn't feel like they could close out big games, and so I didn't have high expectations at all. And even into the KU game, it was just really down to the wire. Like you, I haven't followed it much this year outside of the tournament. But
Okay.
I thought they probably should have been a little lower, but so far that's been entertaining, and they've earned their spot to the next round.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always interesting because it's like you're either just like a really small school that wins your conference championship or something, and you come in as the 16 or the 15 or 14 seed. You know, like all of those spots are reserved for the teams that just never really had to play anybody, or if they did play somebody, they just got smoked. And then it's like all the 10s through 7s are like the Arkansas, you know?
Right.
It's like, where do you sort of filter out in there? But it can make a pretty big difference whether you're playing a 1 seed in the second round or not.
For sure.
You know, like, you know, at least if you're a 7 seed, you can like go and play a 3 or no, I guess you'd have to be a 6 to go play a 3. So yeah, you're kind of locked into a sketchy situation pretty quick if you're in that 7 to 10 range. But you know, it's always cool to see when they can pull off a big upset.
Yeah, it's fun to be connected to a team that runs deep. It just makes it so much more entertaining to me. Obviously.
Raina here in that chat asking if the 2 players on their way might be stuck in traffic on I-35. Apparently a big wreck at Carrollton and Farmers Branch. Yeah, I'm down here in Austin. I don't know. We'd have to sort of try to get an update from Mallory and or Cooper. But long and short of it is that we do now just have the 1 seat waiting for Ram, and he'll be here when he gets here.
I think that should be our next service provided to the stream is the live traffic updates from the helicopter.
Oh,
we
heck
put
yeah.
Cooper up in the helicopter, and now live to Cooper in the helicopter.
We'll have that guy in the chat.
Oh, this isn't what I signed up for.
Right.
You guys are talking about the weather now? Oh, my God.
Cashman here turning a flush draw to go with his gut shot. Best hand here is actually just the pair of 8s for Shorshi, but Mad gonna take a little tickle at this with his pocket 7s, and a big tickle at that over pot.
Thinning the field. Cashman with a decision. Hard to fold this.
It is, but it's also just not particularly profitable to play as a call for this massive size. He is going to make the call nonetheless. It's also a little bit scary to go for a raise when someone goes for a full pot or even just a slight overbet. And you're like, I have a hand that would benefit a lot from raising.
7! How does it come perfect 7?
I mean, he just had the best hand anyways, and if he was going to continue betting, Cashman was just toast. But yeah, who knows what would have happened if this was just like a deuce, right?
Yeah,
like, does
wow.
Cashman get an opportunity to bluff at it on the river and take it away? But Mad here, of course, now just like, oh, please have Queen Jack. Please have Queen Jack. One of these same bet situations where big bet of 750 on the turn and then goes for the 1/3 size.
Interesting.
On the river.
Nice hand to Mad. The Miracle 7 on the river. Didn't need it, but nice little cushion.
Hallie Oz in the chat says Cooper in a drone. So, like, we get to steer it around, but he's in it. Like, all right, let's go to Cooper as we fly him under this underpass.
Jackass meets TCH Live.
JD, what show am I supposed to watch?
Yeah, we do need to spice it up with a little bit more danger.
Yeah.
Danger for the staff.
What's that?
Thinking.
Maybe a little bit of, what was that show that Joe Rogan did where you had to, like, eat weird
Fear
bugs and
Factor.
stuff? Fear Factor, yes. Like, you lose the stand-up game, you have to eat some bugs or something. Like, you can really take this to the next level.
Broth bomb.
Yes, broth bombs. You got to chase your, like, cockroach
Sick.
sandwich with a broth bomb. Yeah, players will be lining up out the doors to play this game.
My wife watched
Shorshi,
the same thing, like,
King 4 air,
I'm gonna call it
3 bet to
cost,
650.
right? She's like, well, I've already watched 18 seasons. I have
I actually really like this when you are fighting blind versus blind, taking these high-low disconnected hands, frequently offsuit like this, are going to mix it in there, and Shorshi not afraid to do so in this spot. Does get called, but a reasonable high card flop for him to represent. He does also have the bottom pair of 4s, which is always nice. That card usually not going to be particularly threatening to your opponent, so when you do make trips, you can oftentimes get paid.
Going all the way through.
Can you 450? Just about 1/3, and ZeFish here in a spot where it's like, yeah, if I call now because I'm ahead, but like the turn is anything other than a 5, and he bets again.
That's why I don't like
Have anything left.
That's why I don't
So
like
instead, he's going to go for the check raise.
movie like has like a defined limit.
Nice.
Where like you have to kind of
Yeah, taking the low pairs, 2s, 3s, 5s. Says, you know what, these cards
or the story needs to make
good
sense
enough
for
to,
once the show,
or
like,
just
I
bad
don't know,
enough
lost.
to put into my bluffing
First
range,
season lost, everybody says
and
the
just
first
good
season's
enough that
amazing.
every once in a while I
There
can get
is
a worse hand to
first
call.
season.
This is actually what is happening
Wow.
And they're
here.
like, okay, we're renewing you for a couple seasons. Like, okay.
We are playing
now
some
we got
real
Church and
poker
Sword.
right here.
Yeah, this
Church
is
and Church. And then they're like, you know what, we're gonna
a
give you more
poker
seasons
hand
canceling. And they're like, shit, now we're gonna wrap up
right
all this
here.
stuff.
And that's the kind of expert commentary you get from TCH Live.
What is this?
This is a poker hand.
Of course. That's what I'm saying. Like,
ZeFish gonna check. Not loving Shorshi calling his check raise. You hate to see that, but then you like to see the check back.
Yeah, you're still probably just toast though, right? Like,
Right.
yeah, the pot didn't go up and you didn't get blown out off of, you know, your river equity.
If you got to renew a
But my
contract, right,
goodness,
if it's a
like,
hit, then people-
yeah, this is a good river because ZeFish going to have a lot of check raises on the flop that do involve clubs. So when the club comes in after ZeFish checks back, like,
Sure,
it's
the
a
five of
mandatory
diamonds.
bet here. ZeFish just betting with the best hand, but
Wow.
he needs to go for this spot there. Does correctly put in the bet and
Oh my God, my head hurts
wins
so
the
bad.
hand. So
Cool
that
hand.
was my favorite hand of the evening.
Yeah,
played,
yeah,
guys.
really good.
Time machine.
Well played.
Time machine.
Good heart from Shorshi, continuing after facing a check raise, but then kind of shut it down on the end. And props to the heart of ZeFish, just blasting it on river there with the 5s. Pretty good result.
It's a good show.
Just to dig into it a little bit, one of the reasons that you see the high card, low card
I got a tiny
get
bit
mixed
tired.
into your
Those
3-betting
guys,
strategy
the
like
last
that
4
is that
episodes
you
always
have the high card
end is the
blocker
beginning, the beginning is the end.
for your opponent to have his best continues.
I know, all right.
And then the 4 also not going to be a card that's going to mix into your opponent's raising range very frequently. So you kind of unblock all of their other hands that are going to fold to your 3-bet pre-flop. And you're not really worried about having that 4 because your opponent just isn't going to have it. So it's a nice little kind of dangler that doesn't block your opponent's bluffing range. So that's how you see those kinds of hands get mixed in.
They would pay me a lot of money for me to try to figure that out.
That is like so borderline, like wild and crazy maniac player versus a really like true thinking player. Like both are going to turn over the king 4 every once in a while, and a lot of people just aren't going to understand that. I think that's players didn't always see the game that way.
Yeah, that's for sure. And you still have a lot of players that are very good that see stuff like that and do kind of roll their eyes and are like, what the hell are you doing raising with king 4 off?
Right.
And it's like, you know, and you don't have to do it at like 100% frequency. You shouldn't be doing it at 100% frequency. But when you mix across, you know, different hand classes that have favorable properties, and this sort of high card, low cards does have some of those, like, you're going to be balanced enough
I mean, now when I
where,
look back at this, it's quite as good, but like when I first
you know, you aren't just like spewing with these kinds of plays, but some people will look at that as just like complete donkey play. And I remember before I really even understood why you would do that kind of a thing, that, you know, I saw people doing stuff similar to that. Like, what are you doing? Like, that is some weird stuff, if not outright just like donkey. And, you know, once you dig deep enough into this game and you see what the solver will do in like these very nuanced spots, and like we just have no idea like how to play this game. Like the computer will show you the way, and it is some crazy stuff.
Yeah, let's watch this guy.
Yeah, man.
Let's just put this guy on the list.
The first season was so good, though.
Colin with the ace-9 suited,
Ice truck
and then called the raise of Cashman on the button.
He was like,
and his sister just come out like, what the fuck? And then just dressed like a hooker and stuff. That was good.
Basically, you can play any hand. Just don't do it every time, is what the solver says, right? That's the takeaway. Every
I don't
hand
think
has
that's a fair assessment.
every hand
but-
has good properties.
I mean, yeah, so I mean, most situations are like fairly cut and dry. You play a pretty what's called linear range, where you just raise with your best hands, you mix some of your crap around the edges, you fold all of your worst hands,
That was like.
and you call the stuff in the middle, right? And like you try to protect your calling range with adding a little bit of premium stuff, but
Then it got a little weird.
yeah, it's like you go too far off of the standard linear range and get into the weeds with like Jack 3 off or Jack 4 offsuit or something. Like unless you're playing the Robbie game and having fun with it, like those hands just get folded. Like there's the solver just doesn't see any value in them. Once you get into a blind versus blind situation where the ranges are so wide, you are just going to be forced to be playing hands that kind of creep into that territory, and that's when you start to use the hands that have the favorable properties of high-low and don't block your opponent's bluffs, but do block their value and blah blah blah. So.
Yeah, that first season just it was so good. It was really good. Remember I was watching in college and I was like,
right, nut flush here for Colin. Sreek improving to the top pair with the King of Hearts blocker.
We were like studying for college.
Definitely could be going along for another bet here. 1.2K into 1.7, so just a 2/3 size here for value. And if you're Sreek, I mean, I don't think you can fold.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at these guys just like, I can't say a word.
If Colin ever just has the naked ace of hearts.
It's set up for such a good ending to that season.
Ooh, Colin giving him a little bit of the business.
Doing the reverse live tell.
Yeah, like, oh, you're going to muck for sure. Let me just toss these in real quick, and let's see if that little bit of flourish can get him paid.
I think we've all tried this in one form or the other.
The trick is to be able to do it when you are bluffing as well.
I can't even imagine.
And that one, it doesn't occur to me as often to do. I've tried it before, and I don't know. I just usually try to just sit there stone-faced rather than try to like do
it's hard to
different
balance
little things.
it. Yeah.
But
I've done it in like very specific situations where I know that's like this is my one time I'm ever going to do something like this because I don't have much to lose. But I'm not great at balancing those.
Yeah, it's like when somebody tries to show you a card, they're like, you want to see one? It's like, oh, well then you're just clearly bluffing. Like you're going to show me the bad one that makes me think, or you're clearly betting for value is what I mean to say. You're going to show me the bad one that makes me think that you're bluffing, but really the other one is just the nut card, of course. Like, I don't know, it's just always so silly.
But he might have earned himself $1,200 with that move. So
I think his hand.
too strong.
King, queen with the King of Hearts. I mean, like, of all the hands that we've ever heard, I mean, this is like third grade poker player stuff where it's like, you have top pair, you have the second nut blocker, like, how could you possibly fold?
Right.
Everybody agreed on that one.
Colin winning 2,000 on the night so far. ZeFish still at the top, about 5K. Jay at the bottom with 2,000, and J-Rock away from the table, having been felted, contributing to the majority of the net profits.
Streak there looking at a pretty tasty order at Taco Bell later. He's up $100 as well.
Love it.
Oh my gosh, that was an insane season.
Oh, I've discovered a new tasty menu item at the Taco Bell.
Go ahead.
They're rocking the grilled cheese burrito with it's a steak. They do a spicy and a non-spicy. Obviously, go with the spicy. So the spicy grilled cheese steak burrito.
But overall, like,
turns out the thing is like freaking $6.99 or something ridiculous. Which, like, I remember when you couldn't find an item on the Taco Bell menu that was even close to that price. But it's real good. So.
That sounds delicioso.
Yeah, probably.
Better get back to the poker before you get eviscerated again for derailing.
Yeah. Well, I know one player in the chat that won't have a problem with that. Damon Williams joining us here in the chat. What's up, my friend?
What's up, Damon? JV says, BK, have it your way. I don't know if you're talking about me or just about enjoying Burger King. I'm down for either. Welcome.
All right, so Sreek here, flopping the top pair. Goes for the check raise. ZeFish here, loving life. He's like, 5 second set, and you're check raising me? Yes, please. Can I have some more? Sreek, though, now, yeah, not loving life. Top pair queen kicker feels pretty good, but it doesn't really win at showdown when
Schedule the match.
multiple bets across multiple streets go in.
Schedule it.
So yeah, he's going to slow this down.
Prove us wrong.
ZeFish on an absolute heater week over week.
Yeah, and when he continues betting here, it's like now the queen jack is very marginal. He may have actually sort of given himself a way out by earning that little bit of extra information. Like, I check raised you and you called, and now you're going to bet the turn. So, like, yeah, your hand might be pretty darn good. Like, all of the, like, 5, 6 of hearts and stuff you'd expect would probably just bail out. So you're down to kind of like 9, 8, and maybe like queen 10, queen 9, like spades, diamonds, hearts. So like pretty narrow range, and then the rest of it is just like beating you. He does make the call though.
Backdoor spades come in. 3 of spades on river. ZeFish, 3,500 in the middle, having been called. Pretty sizable bet on turn. Well, I mean, half pot. Now, 2,300. Feels value-y.
Yeah, 2/3 size going to make up probably the vast majority of his betting range here. Bluffs and value included, but yeah, certainly not a pleasant place to be if you're Sreek. And like I said, I mean, perhaps giving himself a way out here had he just gone for the check call on the flop. The pot would have been smaller, but could certainly be paying off a river bet here. As it goes, he is going to let it go, and ZeFish will take it down
Did you have it both times?
for the tune of just about 6,000.
I mean, it would hurt more if, like, first time you didn't have it and you look back and he's just like, you know what I mean? Because then he's like, I could have called the first time and prevented the second one.
I had kings on the first one.
ZeFish up at the top, 6,600 winner now.
Overpair? Or unwavering?
Queen, jack.
Go.
Oh, yeah, king 10 was the
Shorshi, a little swingy, was up 4,000 or 5,000, and now up stuck, winning only $750 US.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, just the swings that you see in this game with the 25, 25, 50 every hand. You know, these players putting multiple big blinds into the pot every time, and that really starts to add up in terms of your total dollar value up and down. And you know, we see it in thousands of dollars, and for most of us, I think, you know, thousands of dollars feels like a lot of money. When you divide it by 50 bucks and think about it as a 3-blind game, you know, you kind of have to tone that down in terms of the number of big blinds that are actually won or lost, and it can start to feel like a much more manageable amount, but still, just, yeah, a lot of money changing hands here on Tuesday nights.
I'll get to you when I get to you, pal.
Check raise here from JD. That's the 2 overs and the gut shot. Sreek with the second pair, and backdoor diamonds not going anywhere in position.
Double gutted,
Now,
actually.
yeah, now JD here gets to play the role of I'm betting with a hand that I just want you to fold, please.
Never.
Yeah, now he's going to give up on the turn.
King 5 best. Rom in the mix.
Another situation similar to what we had before, except JD is not going to go for the big bluff on the end when the diamond comes in. Pretty darn good card, all things considered, for him to represent. Pocket 7s, 8s, 9s, like obviously he blocks some of those, but ace 5, ace 6, any of these types of hands are going to be under a lot of pressure when the flush and straight comes in. But JD pretty much just shutting it down and getting out of harm's way. The pair of 5s will get to drag the pot.
102.
Bank of JD open.
He's the sickest. He's the sickest.
This never gets old to me, the big stacks of cash. That is so sick.
Just go ahead and bring in chips.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty common occurrence around the card rooms, right? You see people sit down, they're like, hey, can I Venmo you for cash? And somebody whips out a big stack of bills, and the other person gets out their phone and, boop, you know, do a little transaction and get everybody locked and loaded, and away we go.
No, not happening. Oh,
I like that.
what's that? Dose of medicine.
Matt here, a little raisin takey on the button.
Take it.
And Rob will be in the mix here, playing behind the button for his first hand as he gets stacks of chippies moved his way.
That's Danny to
Young
young
man.
man.
He needs some medicine.
Alice Acuna joining us on her TV, so won't be joining in the chat too much. Well, welcome to the show. Appreciate you tuning in.
Thanks for having TCH Live on your TV. For folks out there that are on their phone, tablet, PC, all that good stuff, make sure you hit the like button. If you're enjoying the stream and our very minor spats of derailing, make sure you subscribe so you're notified every time we go live or a new piece of content is posted. Appreciate everybody joining us and engaging in the chat and being fans of the stream.
You can always drop a super chat at us as well. We'd be happy to read anything you have to say, answer any questions you might have or whatever, and any dollary dues that you do pitch into the super chat do go directly to commentators and the production staff. So we always appreciate that. We'd be very gracious if you wish to do so. But yeah, please do help us out. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed as we see a jack of clubs here on the turn, proving Mad to the best hand. No one with a club in hand, so probably not a lot of betting going on. Up and down for Jay with the bottom pair, though, so plenty of opportunities for him to improve, and he does. But it is the queen of clubs, so now 4 clubs on board.
I mean,
Shorshi has absolutely complete
Nurse office is back to work.
dog
Just like,
crap, and so he'll just bet at it because why not? That's what you do when you have bottom of your range. And everybody folds. The 2 pair even going into the muck there pretty quickly. So
leave early on Monday. You know,
easy take there. I mean, of course, it's like a one-liner to a straight and a flush, so understandable. But you know, think about it with the 2 pair. I don't know.
Office at home, so like, they're like, I need to come in and work. You know. And then all the people who are like have families or kids or houses, they're like, no, I kind of just want to stay home. So, yeah, our team's pretty young now, so most all the kids are just there most days, you know.
Alice here mentioning the cruise that's coming up.
Oh,
I'm so pumped. We are T-minus like 5 days or something to take off, and I am super, super excited. Cannot wait to be sailing the high seas and soaking up some rays, drinking some delicious beverages, and hanging out with all of the fine TCH poker people of the world that are going to be on the cruise. From what I understand, there's something like 70 to 80 or something people that have like signed up through, like, you know, specifically to go on the cruise with the TCH crew, plus all of the staff. It is going to be one heck of a group of people.
Yeah.
It is going to be super awesome. I am so excited.
Yeah, I'm so jealous. Yeah, it's going to be such a good time. Merging the TCH locales on one ship and getting everybody loosey-goosey playing some cards 24/7.
Oh, yeah.
Shorshi drilling the wheel on the turn. My favorite hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, JD still with top pair, middle kicker. Was trying to just keep the pot small after the flop call. And now bet a 650. Yeah, what are you going to do besides pay this off?
Thank you.
Yeah, and I know that there's going to be 3 of us here from Austin that play the deuce to 7 every week. So there's even a chance that we can rope some other folks into getting a game going. maybe play it at a little bit smaller stakes. Maybe do like a 3-5-5 or a 5-5-5 ante or something like that to get the game going, get some of the players on the cruise interested in it. Definitely something that I'll be floating once we get out there. Har, har, har. You got my little dad joke. Yeah, very much looking forward to trying to get that going, as well as just rocking and rolling with some 1-2, 1-3, 2-5, whatever the people want to play.
He looks familiar. Like I played with him maybe once. I couldn't play some. I don't know.
All right, Jay here going to limp the hijack with ace 7-0. JD will punish the limper. And Shorshi just won with this hand. He's going to stick around.
Oh, yeah. Suited and everything.
For a raise, actually. Looked like maybe just a call, but there was a hidden pink chip there. The interesting thing about the new chipset here at TCH Austin is that the 500 is no longer pink. We've done away with the pink and gone straight purple. It's like a deep purple.
Oh, okay. Like the old school $5 tip chips or whatever we had initially?
Well, I'm not sure about what you guys had for $5 tip chips. We had $2 tip chips here that were like a blue.
Maybe that's what
like
I'm
a
thinking
royal
of.
blue. So these
Well, he
ones
flops the joint again.
He absolutely does. Wheel back to back with the same 2 cards.
That's absurd.
Can he get paid? JD, bottom pair and a wheel gut shot. I don't think he's going anywhere just yet.
Yeah. Blind what was the action pre?
It was a limp from the player in the cutoff. JD squeezed from the player in the hijack. Then JD squeezed the cutoff. Shorshi flatted from the big blind. No, sorry, Shorshi.
3-bet.
3-bet. And JD called.
Wow, and he just flopped the wheel in a 3-bet pot. I think you got to keep betting, right? Or
oh, absolutely. Yeah, this is a hand where you just try to get all the chips in. You hope that your opponent has some sort of good one pair holding. The 10 is not a scare card, right? If JD has like pocket 9s, pocket 8s, like the 10 is not a scary card, so he's certainly going to be continuing with those. Shorshi sizes up and actually goes quite large here, 2.6 into 3,000. So very nearly full pot. JD just on the bottom pair here. He doesn't have a spade, which is good for his specific hand in terms of like bluff catching. But if he's going to have 9s, 8s, 7s, 6s, ace 5s, ace 4 of spades, right? Like there's a lot of combinations of hands that he's going to continue with. He doesn't have to take his bottom pairs, but he will continue. And with the pot swelling to 8,200, we go to a river. Deuce of diamonds.
Oh, no.
And JD is almost certainly going to feel like he just got there, and what he did is got there for Shorshi.
JD basically has a pot-sized bet left.
Yeah. Everybody say your prayers, your condolences, your RIPs for JD and his chips.
All in, perfect size bet. Instant call from JD.
And Shorshi's like, I have the wheel again. And JD's like, no way.
$25,000 pot, straight up. Shorshi wins $13K. Unbelievable. What a cooler situation.
4, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. I said. I was going to say, ace 3's hot.
Yeah.
Ace 3 hot back to back. That is wild.
Yeah, so Shorshi here we're gonna get a little count down here, make sure that Shorshi has it covered, but of course he does.
7, 8.
They're almost, for just a moment, there had to be just a skip of a heartbeat for Shorshi because JD snap called so quickly.
Yeah,
It's like, oh
forceful.
god, does he just have the 5s or the 4s or the pocket deuces or whatever that just completely smokes me? And when he turns over the ace-3, sort of, he almost had a little question mark. He was like, the wheel? You know, like, is this good?
What insta calls me other than a boat? Or exactly ace deuce? I don't know. Wow, what a pot.
The river to get you snapped.
Yeah.
Nice hand to Shorshi.
Gets stacked there and has to reload. Reaches into the bank pouch for himself this time.
15.
And will reload to the tune of 15K, if I heard him correctly.
Add 0.
So sick, dude. And that's, I mean, you gotta have the bankroll to withstand swings like this. And JD just immediately rebuying for stacks. Gosh, this game can really be brutal sometimes.
Yeah, and you know, we sort of see a lot of high stakes poker productions out there that show, you know, sort of like billionaires and hedge fund managers and business owners and whatever, just people just slinging hundreds of thousands of dollars into the pot left and right and playing any 2 cards and all kinds of stuff. Those games are pretty unique, right? Like, this is going to be much more the standard when you put this amount of money on the table. Really strong battling opponents that understand the game. They put in the time, both on the felt and, you know, behind the computer screen, figuring out how to play this these hands as best as they can. And when you have JD playing against, you know, ZeFish or drawing a blank, the gentleman that just won the hand there.
Shorshi.
Sorry, Shorshi. Right, like, these players are gonna just go at it, and those hands are just played to the max in front of those players. So you're gonna have to absorb some hits like that when the cooler goes against you. That's for sure.
Right. And we're on to the next hand, just like that. ZeFish betting ace 10 high for 225. Mad, nothing but backdoors, straight and flush draws, and gets out of the game.
Wouldn't hate a check raise here from Mad, honestly. It seems maybe a little bit splashy, but at the same time, there's a lot of turn cards that improve your hand, give you additional equity, and it's kind of hard to come up with bluffs on this. Queen 6 2 super disconnected, right? You've got 5 3 5 4 like every once in a while if they're suited, so not very many combinations of that. After that, you start to just run out of like pure gut shots. So the 7-4 club's pretty good candidate there, but Mad decides caution is the better part of valor, just gets out of the way.
Shorshi winning 15,000 tonight after that massive pot versus JD. ZeFish as well, having a pretty good night for himself, winning over 6K.
Deuce was about to be my most winning hand this year. It was almost there.
JD with 2 4s.
It might still be there. But
Oh, yeah.
I've won 2 massive ones with ace deuce. This is about to be 3rd.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
JD here with a little bit of ace deuce run good that just got stepped on.
And I was about that one versus George. I was like, here we go.
Thought that he had brought it home again. Clearly had it on his mind. The ace deuce doing good things for him.
That's not stupid.
Wow, JD rewarded middle set.
Going to be tough for him to get much value out of his opponents unless we somehow make it to a turn that can give additional equity to one or both of these players. We are going to get to that turn, and it does nothing for his opponents.
Fills up, forceful, but everyone else drawn pretty thin. Thin as 0.
Yeah, wouldn't mind seeing JD check again. A lot of times you'll say to yourself, like, you need to start putting chips in the pot. Like, you have to build the pot with your best hands. At the same time, like...
Shorshi with the ace of spades might get cute.
Yeah, getting some value from the big overcard. So JD putting the traditional poker theory on display and getting rewarded. Shorshi puts 250 in there. That's always coming deuce. Suspect we'll see another good sized bet here, 3/4 thereabouts. There you have it, 800 into 1,000.
What a quick call.
Will make the call. Fantastic awareness there from JD. When he gets called on the turn, going to be a lot of ace-high holdings. Shorshi's control and get the max out of him.
JD's got some way to go to dig himself out of this hole, but he's done it plenty of times before. And we're playing high stakes, so any single hand when you have 16,000 in front of you is apt to be a huge one. So don't count the man out. He's been at this for a long time.
JV here in the chat says brutal double question mark. He should have never been in that hand. He should have folded on the flop, if not the turn for sure. Well, we certainly have the advantage of seeing the cards face up on our screen. Could also be said that bottom pair didn't need to be in his defending range, as I stated in the middle of the hand. But at the same time, if you do find yourself in there battling against a tough opponent and you make your way to that river, that is a brutal river. There is just no two ways about it, because at that point, you are now beating a gigantic portion of your opponent's value betting range and are going to be putting the chips in. So it's a pretty brutal river. Like, we can still be honest about the fact that what happened happened, and now we have what is
jacks versus aces.
Brutal flop. Shorshi.
Oh my gosh!
Love this board.
10-4-5 rainbow after it goes raise, re-raise, call. Two premiums battling it out in late position. This is going to be a heater check. If Shorshi can either find a fold or river value, and he does not. Ace is still good for Colin.
Yeah, Colin's got an interesting play
Checks
style.
back?
Wow.
Checks back.
I thought he was sort of setting up the big river bet with how quickly he checked back the turn. Kind of like how we saw him go for the little bit of a, like, I'm going to just muck my cards because, like, you're for sure folding, when he was trying to get his opponent to make the call, right? Like, using timing tells and different things to try to get into his opponent's head a little bit, but then he just snap checked the river, and everything I thought was happening just went right out the window.
These guys are good at making us liars, where you watch so many hours and hours of poker and you expect basically one single thing to happen, and they surprise you week over week. Interesting line for all involved.
Yeah, I will say, like, I'm sure I probably drive some people crazy by just, predicting and talking about what I think is going to happen next. But at the same time, like, I love it when the players just do things that are just completely creative and original, and they, there's like a standard line, or what I think a standard line would be, and they're just like, no, F that, like, I'm going to do this, and, merge this hand that, like, almost never gets merged, or just go for a big bluff with a hand that really doesn't have any blocking qualities or whatever. Like, just YOLO it, it's awesome.
Yeah. Although the YOLO check back is not what I would put into the YOLO range.
No, definitely not. Not what I had in mind for the YOLO. You only live once, check. Cool, bro. Let me get the casket out for you. You lived once. You're done. It's over.
Oh, yeah. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they do have a history. Who knows? But, yeesh.
Well, to be fair, that's not a great looking board. And if you ever have a scenario within which you feel like, if I bet and get check raised pot or something stupid, like I'm going to throw up and not appreciate what just happened,
right?
Then it's always fair game to just check. But if you're literally only value betting
Trips are better. 2 pair or
sets
better.
or better, yeah, at that point it had to be like for sure 2 pair or better, and mostly just sets given the texture. You're just not betting for value with very much. And,
Colin jacks right back at it. 2 red jiggities. Mad looks like a 3-piece coming. Min click to 300.
I don't know how he does it though, because he
zigging and zagging, bobbing and weaving. Shorshi on the ace deuce suited.
He's got playing chips now too. He's probably just fine getting in there with the steel wheel draw.
But Colin just flatted this, right? So the back raise was a very real possibility. The fact that, wait, I'm very confused.
Comes ace high for Shorshi. Mad having clicked it pre. Just has Broadway draw.
And now I'm second guessing everything about this hand, but Shorshi opened, right? And Colin just called? And then Mad min clicked?
I thought
Shorshi limped.
Colin raised it originally, but
So then Shorshi must have limped. No, Shorshi did raise, yeah. So Shorshi raised.
oh, so then Colin just called
Colin
with.
Maybe we had a misread. Maybe he did play the jacks that way. Obviously, this is the board where you're just like, cool, glad I slow played jacks because like this board sucks.
Yeah. Mad, do you go 3 streets representing?
Queen jack, certainly a good candidate to do it with, and the size up here is fantastic.
2,000.
Let's go. Gets it done. Shorshi folds the top pair, no kicker, and
nice bet.
probably has a little something to say to JD about the ace deuce, making money or losing it.
Ace deuce might be the kryptonite tonight, but Mad making it happen with Queen Jack high.
Really like that play there from Max.
Power poker.
Especially with just the min click pre. Like the min click is so weird. It already just sets off all the alarm bells of just like aces, kings, ace, king. Like, what on earth are you doing that with, and why? Fantastic stuff.
I'm pretty sure everyone met him but you.
Well, okay, so I appreciate your comment there, Jedi Master Ted. I certainly don't claim to say what people should do. I pretty much try to put out what I think my understanding of the game is in terms of like a theoretical approach, as well as maybe some tricks of the trade that I'll throw in there from time to time. But I definitely would never have, would never choose the words myself to say that this is how players should play.
First trip, I don't know, maybe it was
Everybody going to play their own game. That's absolutely to be encouraged. I think that originality and creativity should be praised. And it would be boring if we literally just watched robots play against each other.
Right.
Nine-handed, just robots all night. We'd see some pretty crazy stuff, which would be interesting in its own right. But it would also just not have the human factor, and that's what we all tune in for. But do
that's what makes
appreciate the
poker
kind
so
words
interesting.
there.
He's not having a great time in Dallas, poker-wise.
All right, straight draws galore, but Jay just going to hold on with the turned pair of 9s for the best hand. But ZeFish here once again, just like bottom of range. Got to take a stab, see if you can get it through.
Second pair for Jay versus a aggressive player in ZeFish. You can make a call, but Jay finds a fold. So far, ZeFish hasn't had to show down many, if any, hands. Pretty nice image for himself so far.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels really good when you have a consistent streak of your bluffs getting through and just taking it down, mucking your hand. You know, just because you know that your opponents are starting to just tally it up, and they're like, this dude's winning hand after hand after hand, and we're never seeing his cards. Like, this dude's got to be up to no good at least some of the time, but we're not sure. You know, he might just have the goods, and you love it when your opponents are wondering what's going on over there. Well, I always think it's so funny, like during the final table stream, Augie, the gentleman that ended up chopping once they got down to heads up, also pulled a 20K bounty, just running real pure over the weekend. So congratulations once again to the players that made the final table, and of course to Augie and it was Cayman, something. Congratulations to those guys. But
wow, that is running so pure.
Yes, and Augie was running so good at the final table, he just kept showing his cards. He would just win pot after pot after pot, and he would show his cards every time. 2 pair trips, flop to straight, turn to flush, like he just kept turning it over. And it got to the point where everybody just kind of knew, like, this dude's just got it when he bets. Like, he's just literally always has it. Because there were only a few hands where he would just, like, check. And every time he, like, checked, he would fold. And so it's just like, I don't know, you're kind of giving these guys a little bit of insight into when you got it or not.
I don't have it in me. There has to be some mistake.
I'd rather use that my one time to run that pure in the main.
Yeah.
Although, that's a nice, like, 100K weekend for those guys winning the bounties.
Yeah, it wasn't clear to me as to how many other bounties were won by those two gentlemen in particular, but both of them that chopped for about 62.5 apiece had also pulled the 220K bounties and chopped all of the bounties that were remaining 9 ways with the other players. So like, for sure, we're getting at least somewhere around 85,000 on the day, plus whatever other bounties we didn't know about, which presumably was a few since they had massive chip stacks.
It's amazing.
I get it.
Yeah.
But it's not fun. For me, I understand. Some people have such an...
All right, big raise here from Sreek.
Other places, like 3
Getting a little bit out of line here with the Jack 10-0, giving JD the business, and Ace 10 suited looks pretty. JD is stuck, but do you really want to go to war with
and
this
I went
hand?
with it one time. 17 tournaments. I went one time, and he'll like bust some old lady. Right.
He says, let's do it. Makes the call in position, already 5,000 in the middle, so stack to pot ratio well under 2. Sreek out of position with the betting lead comes queen high. Standard little 1/4 to 1/3 sets up a turn jam if he picks up a little bit of additional equity. There we have it, 1,400 into 5K.
You have one of the biggest cashes of your life or something, and you're still just fucking miserable because you went fourth place. And stuff like that.
The beauty of the small continue is that when JD has a hand exactly like this one, 3 to a straight, 3 to a flush, you put him in a real tough spot. Like, does he want to continue? Does he just let it go? And he just sort of doesn't know. It's such a great bet. Shreek takes it down with the jack high.
Wow, nice.
$25. Let's go.
Shreek, he's a player. He likes to play. I think he's been VPipping high this entire time. I'd like to see his stats 2 hours in. He's played a lot of hands. And he's up. Those things are totally correlated.
Yeah, dragging that pot right there puts him into the black. Rom here, not going to have too many spicy grilled cheese burritos in his future unless he can claw back a win. But look at the raise first in there. Sreek, 50% of the hands that he has played have come as raise first in, so good on him. And let's just put another little notch in the belt there as he'll come in from under the gun with the King Queen O. Jedi Master Ted letting me know in the chat that it was Kevin. That's right. Couldn't remember his name. I knew it was just like a normal name missing a letter. So I was thinking Calvin minus the L. So there it is, Kevin. Yeah, fantastic run between him and Augie.
Yeah.
That's how the mind of a nuclear physicist works. It was a normal name, just missing a letter. I couldn't just remember the name. No, it was a normal name minus a letter. That's how I
Well,
remembered
Calvin is actually not really that common though. I don't know if I've known more than maybe like one Calvin like ever.
it. Yeah, me either.
Man, it's a cool name though. Calvin.
Yeah,
Calvin's a great
and
name.
Hobbes. I think that's the only
Yeah, chips in his record. You said
Calvin I know. Calvin and Hobbes.
Oh heck yeah, dude! I loved those comics when I was a kid.
Me too.
I would go to the library. I don't think I've been to a library in a decade or more, but I would go to the library and I would check those out and I would take them home and just those gigantic books
Yeah.
full of comics and read them from front to back. Oh my god, so much fun.
said, and he only did it that one time. I should know his name.
And that's how we were
Artwork.
entertained.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Colin here flopping third pair, turning some clubs, but doesn't improve. And Sreek here gonna check back the river, just betting. Honestly, even just calling the single bet there on the turn from Colin. So not a ton of value to be had, but given the run out, happy to take down the pot.
Cards come out, you open
Yeah,
it.
Calvin and Hobbes was fantastic. I would read those all the time. Let's see, what else was I into? I get Goosebumps.
And it's
Yep.
the only time he said
Goosebumps.
it.
Good old
because obviously I-
Goosebumps books.
Garfield books, yep.
obviously I see
Yeah,
him.
Garfield was good. Ooh, Choose Your Own Adventure, bro.
One time he said-
Like the different books that came out, whether they were part of that like brand or some of the off-brand, but also like the same thing where it was like you were making decisions as you went along. Those books were freaking awesome. Loved that stuff.
Yeah, all those were super fun.
It's like, do you try to slay the dragon by poking it in the eye or slashing him in the throat? And you were like, oh my god, which one do I do? Yeah, that was great.
Destroyed the fence there with his fingernail. Probably like Christy.
All right, 3 players to a flop. Hearts would be spicy, but there are no hearts on this flop.
The mix up, by the way. No, probably fucking, what's his name again? Joe. Chicken
Rampus
Joe.
gets to bet and take it down.
Chicken. And you're done. Is John? John. Moved well.
Shorshi continuing to dominate the game. JD funding a lot of that domination.
No.
A lot of poker to continue. We're 8 p.m. Central Time, 2 hours remaining. Ben K, Aaron McAvoy with you, live from Dallas and Austin via technology. I'm coming to you live from my mansion up in North Dallas. And Aaron, you're at the card house, right, in Austin currently?
Yeah, from a broom closet at the back of the card club here in Austin, Texas.
Only the finest for the talent.
That's right. Coming at you through a series of tubes. Do you know that reference?
Too hard.
It was starting to ring a bell, but then I lost it.
I don't remember who it was. If it was, this may have been was it a Dan Quayleism or was it a different? It was like some politician or something, but they tried to describe the internet as a series of tubes. And so I love it. It's a series of tubes. That's absolutely what it is. All right, second pair here for both Sreek and Jay, and now both players turning trips. Seven is
7
kicking
plays.
for the time being. A lot of river cards that will negate that fact. But it is going to be a bet of 125 and a call here. Sreek not opting for the re-raise. And there is the chopping on the river.
Great times. Great times.
Tiny pot, though. We'll see if... Oh, yeah. 300 and a call. Chop, chop.
Oh, both have a 9.
It's like both players like, how do you have a 9?
Well, I was suited.
No, green
Well, you were suited.
Well, I was suited. All right, uneventful. They should really get the beverages flowing down there at the high stakes table.
Cooper Wise, can we get some broth bombs on the live stream table, please?
Yeah, if you get somebody bring a round of broth bombs and everybody's like, none of us want this. None of us
They're
want
like, I'm
this.
sorry, we're nearly halfway through the program, and it's the new Fear Factor edition. So here's your bugs and your shot. Do it now. You know,
Ted Stevens from Alaska, John Gentles says, a series of tubes.
okay, there we go. Well, thank you, John Gentles, for bringing that one through for us. But you know how there's chess boxing? Have you heard of this phenomenon?
No, chess boxing?
Yes. Okay. So real quick, I'm sure we'll lose another viewer, but I'm going to tell you about chess boxing. As we are raised to 150, raised to 450, Colin's going to cold call on the button. Back over to Jay from the straddler early position. It looks like he was under the gun opener. He's going to make the call. So 3 players to a flop, all 5s. King, queen,
Wow.
still out ahead. Yeah, I think this is just going to be another one of these ZeFish moments where he just bets with like 8 high and wins. And sure enough. So the streak is alive for ZeFish to just like never show down a bluff. Okay, so chess boxing. 2 players enter the arena with like, you know, boxing gear on. They sit down at the table and they play whatever it is. It's like a couple minutes or something of chess with a standard clock that has, you know, like set amounts of time. So, you know, if you just like sat there and didn't play a move, you really could just like use up 2 minutes of your clock and then go straight to the boxing round. But then you wouldn't have very much time left for the later rounds if you make it that far. But you alternate between like 2 minutes of chess or 3 minutes of chess, whatever it is, and then like a normal like 2 or 3 minute boxing round.
So stupid.
No, it's amazing. I mean, it sounds stupid, but at the same time, like, just imagine like you play chess and then you get punched in the head repeatedly, and then you have to go back and play chess again. Like, it's kind of hilarious.
Oh yeah, that's absurd and hilarious. It had to have been some drunk buddies like, dude, what
You know
if?
what we need to do?
Stick with me here.
Yeah, but this has become an actual phenomenon, and I don't mean like, you know, you're going to see this on like ESPN tomorrow,
Right.
but like ESPN 8 the Ocho for sure. Like this is like a real thing. And so you've got some of these like pseudo celebrity chess players that are doing this, and it's pretty fantastic.
That's awesome. That
now
is the
maybe
most
we need to-
absurd thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, and now maybe we need to incorporate that into a heads-up poker match.
That would be sweet. Yes. Get some real like bad beat angst out.
The best thing about it is that like you can either win the match by checkmating your opponent or by knocking them out, right? And so like there's a lot of strategy when it comes to like, let's say that you're playing the chess and you're just getting smoked, like you're in a completely losing position, there's no chance that you're going to make it out of this. You can use like the last little bit of time on your clock to get to the next boxing round and know that you just have to go in there and like unload the fury and just like knock them out. That's your one chance to win, you know? It's pretty great.
Man, is that televised anywhere, or is it just like a underground thing?
No, so there's actually been a couple of reasonably like sizable productions that have gone on. Like Mr. Beast funded a big one. I think it was Mr. Beast. I'm pretty sure it was with like some real top like chess personalities and stuff. I don't know if you're familiar with Botez sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
there's a world where just,
Alexandra
like,
Bach.
you have to go on a trip with random people I've never met before. But it's
Oh yeah,
no,
I see it.
It was the other.
Anna Gutter?
Now I'm drawing a blank here. I should get back to the poker real quick because we've got streak betting.
I mean, it's like the nuts.
Calling with the pocket nines on flop and turn. Mad here just trying to get one through with the 2 over cards. So it was Andrea. Andrea Botez, she was the one that boxed, and now she's got another matchup coming that is getting some publicity. So, yeah, it's a real thing.
These 3 back-to-back, straight smooth, right?
I mean, why not?
Pez asking, is it possible to move chess pieces with gloves on? They do take the gloves off in between, so it's kind of like you have a little bit of a breather. Like they take the gloves off, there's like 20 seconds or 30 seconds or something after the boxing match, and then they get the table lowered back into the ring, and then you then go back at it.
It's been good. I would have never thought in a million years I'll end up.
Mad here thinking about what to do here on the river. He's bet 2 streets already. This is a tough card to represent. He needs to have like all of it with like a set or an over pair.
Why are we grilling him? He lost like
No, it's friendly banter. Come on, we do this all the time.
And he's just going to give it up. I don't know. I was going to say, I think 3 just
the water
goes for the showdown, which he does. Again, another spot where it's like, if you bet and get raised, you just kind of hate everything. I think here's maybe a little bit better spot for you when you have the 2 9s, right? Like you hard block all the straights. If there was ever a world within which you don't have like Jack 9. Well, I guess you don't block Jack 9 of clubs, which is really the one hand you'd be afraid of. So yeah, just checking it back makes a lot of sense. Ooh, Rom is back to grilled cheese steak burrito time, up $200. Let's go.
$800,000 pot between
Cashman, Jay, JD,
Antonius and
all in
very
stuck
big
still.
stand. Doesn't matter, straight over flush, over whatever, and then everyone's stunned. It's like fucking huge thing at high stakes poker, like fucking season 3, you know, 12 years ago, 15 years ago. Everyone's talking. Everyone's
Mark Wee
excited.
says, sounds like a
All of
messed
sudden,
up
John
version
didn't say
of
what
Wizard's
because
chess.
I had trips. That's it.
I know
That's
I've
all
heard
he
of Wizard's
said.
chess. I don't remember exactly what that is, but
Everyone to know.
yeah, I mean, it's. I think this is sort of the future of sports, right? Like the NFL and like basketball, baseball, right? Like these things, they've been tried and true. Like the fans are just always going to be there. You get a whole new generation of fans born every year, and it's just part of our culture. But it's very static, right? Like you get a few little changes here and there as to like the replays and the penalties and whether or not you can actually touch the quarterback or whatever. But outside of that, these sports are very static. So to get something new and fresh and exciting, you kind of have to push the boundaries and think outside of the box. And maybe merging multiple sports is the way to do it. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool to see some of these innovations. Oh, the Wizard's chess from Harry Potter. I got you. Gavin in the chat says combat juggling is where it's at. I mean, all right. Can you defeat your opponent whilst keeping the juggle alive? I guess, and if you like obstruct your opponent's juggle by hitting one of their objects, then it's like a penalty.
4% on every. Like you can get a $10,000 buy. Yeah, 4%. Ridiculous. And it's extremely slow. Sorry.
I have a friend who played in Paris.
We had a 25K pot tonight. Let's run it up to 30, 35. Stacks are growing. We could see it. Max Payne.
Yeah, certainly another clash between JD and Shorshi could certainly set the stage for it. But we'll
Yeah.
see some hands to do it.
You know, I've been everywhere, man. So that's all good, man.
Colin raising from early position with the Queen Jack O. Ram here. He's on the button, but 6-7 off is pretty speculative. So he'll let this one go. If anybody wakes up with anything here in the blinds in the straddle, looks like nope. I think we're bound to get a PLO flip here anytime. When we do, I'm going to step out and use the rest of the right back, but looks like we're going to do at least one more hand of the 2-card game. The D Prime in the chat wants to know, how do they know what people are holding? I don't see a camera on the table. Well, it turns out the cards actually have RFID sensors in them, or not sensors. The sensors are in the table. The RFID chips are in the cards. You put the chips over the little scanners. You can see the little circular decals on the belt there. Put the chips in the cards over those. The table knows what they have.
How do people play that?
The extraordinarily cool thing about the RF poker setup that we use at our TCH locations is that the table scans the cards and transmits that information into the computer in order to process the hand and keep track of the action. But we don't actually see the cards on the screens for anyone to be able to see. Either production staff, myself, Ben Kirby, no one can see the cards until the delay is complete, and 15 minutes later, that information is then transmitted to what you guys are seeing with us live. So there is no chance for impropriety, no chance for anyone to skim the information and transmit that information to someone live in a hand. That has been removed from the equation. Pretty fantastic.
It's a very cool system, and the technology has come a really far way in just a short amount of time, when the streaming systems even like 2 years ago didn't have the functionality that they have now, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and obviously we've had some sort of scandalous hands that have occurred over the last couple of years, culminating in our most recent extravaganza, the Robbie and Garrett situation that really led to, I think, it was really the driving force behind it, because we'd already had the Mike Postle thing, we'd had maybe some other sort of nefarious things that had maybe made aware of in the poker community, but not certain as to whether or not it could be proven. Things going on with the card readers and how that information was being processed, etc. That really just sort of drove it to the point where it is now, where it's not even just the RF Poker, it's their competitors as well. Having the functionality built in to keep the cards private from everyone until the post-production comes up live, what you guys are watching with us here live. And that's really the direction that it should have gone. I'm really proud of our poker guys for leading the way there. We're happy to be partnered with them. And any of the live streams that aren't using that and making that a part of their system is honestly a little bit suspect.
Speaking of, Shriek with the Jack 4, flopping Jack High Diamonds.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. He's culturally friends society as well and stuff. It's like a
regional manager or something.
But dude, I've been hearing the price that
They was only 2,000 behind. Uh-oh. Shriek might get all of it. Checking his Jack High flush.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, so I was going to say it's a little bit tough if you're J. Stack to pot ratio is 2, so betting flop really kind of sets you up for some awkward spots later on. Yeah, turning the top pair, going to feel compelled to put some chips out there, and Shriek will make the call. It would be kind of weird for Shriek to then just seize the lead here on the end, but I don't really see another way around it. You really don't want to check.
Yeah.
Wanted a chance to check back, so he's going to have to leave.
Shriek effectively got the pot, or stack to pot ratio to 1, and he is going to just say, all right, any good ace, probably got to pay.
Yeah, problem for Jay is that he has one of the better hands he's going to show up with here after checking the flop. He doesn't have a diamond, so that kind of sucks, but this is just a pot size bet. Like, yes, it's for everything you've got left, but if you said, I have 10K in front of me and the guy bets pot, am I going to fold this hand on the river? And the answer a lot of the time is going to be no. It's certainly on the edge, but if you fold this hand, then you're only calling with 2 pair plus, and that starts to be pretty narrow.
Jay's made some big folds already, and he does
He doesn't want to partake.
fold the ace wisely.
Maybe. Oh well, I guess it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, tough spot, but does get away from it. I mean, so I was going to say there, you're either calling 2-pair plus or you're calling your top pair, second kicker, or whatever, top pair, top kicker with a diamond, right? So with the queen of diamonds. And then you just got a couple combos of that. All right, here we go. Dealer change and a PLO bomb pot. So I'm going to step out and I'll be right back.
Alrighty. 250 in the middle from everyone. I think this is a PLO flip, if I'm not mistaken, where 4 cards face down, 5 cards face up. No betting, and the luckiest player wins. JD was the luckiest to begin the night, winning the first flip. We'll see if he can go back to back. New dealer in the box. Shifts every 2 hours here on the live stream. NK and Aaron McAvoy with you for the next 2 hours.
We order every fucking day. We go out every single day, right?
He pulled out the $100.
Millions of restaurants within like a 10-minute radius. You get the nice street food you can have right at the beach.
Players kind enough to pull out some of the flip pot to give to the production staff and commentators. Pretty classy moves.
We would always order for like days.
The promises TCH Dallas 24 hours. It absolutely is. And this is the place to find a game of any stake or a lot of different stakes at any time of day or night. Close to 30 tables. Generally, they're full all day, every day, into the night. Stakes ranging from 1-2 all the way up to 50, 100, 200, 400 sometimes. 4-card and 5-card pot limit variants. We've also got some limit mix games running every once in a while. Lots of poker to be played here at TCH Dallas and all the TCH locations across the state of Texas.
Oh, I have 2 flush draws. JT.
And I'm not going to pretend to read everyone's hand until the conclusion of the hand. It looks like at least Jay's got the nuts.
You have the nuts. Oh, you have the nuts. How do you do that? Boom. Nuts.
Oh man, that river.
I had 2 flush draws. You bring it offsuit.
Wow.
All right, back just in time to see Jay get half of this thing.
Jay gets half, and someone else has Jack 10. Maybe Cashman.
How do you do that?
That's crazy.
Take it offsuit. That's ridiculous.
All right, lock him up.
Chop it up, Jay and Cashman.
1 out, right?
All right, I'll step away for a second too. BRB.
Yeah, the spade is
Perfect.
Yeah. I mean, you also have the ace.
All right.
That's how you're running.
Quick little look there at the room. As per the usual, every table full, wall-to-wall poker action. 1-2, 2-5, 5-10, and above. We got PLO. Tournaments running throughout the week as well. I would imagine. I don't see any right here. Maybe not as many nightly tournaments there in Dallas. I do know we run a lot of nightly tournaments here in Austin. But man, TCHs around the state just always blasting off. Fantastic games wherever you go.
He said he might be able to do a little more like they play.
Did you watch Last of Us TV show?
No.
No.
I heard about it though.
I'm not gonna like.
Good?
We are on to hand number 53. Playing 6 and 7 hands. The 6 and 7 handed earlier on. We've just had so many big hands that we actually haven't gotten through quite as many as we have in past streams. But we love to see it when there are big decisions to be made, etc. The D Prime wants to know, any bonus hands like bad beats, etc.? Yes, we do have the bad beat jackpot going right now. I can find our little here we go.
Screaming, please.
The buzzer beater bad beat jackpot right now. 7 high straight flush beat. Let's see, that was on March 20th. So we're down to a 6 high straight flush beat. Both full cards must play. There must be, I think, 10 blinds or something like that in the pot in order to qualify. But yeah, you participate in the bad beat. It's 26,000 as of today, I do
You can share that
believe.
shit on me on my bases. I'll fuck you up, right?
25,000 on March
Fuck me
20th.
up.
So there we go. Yeah, 26,000 in there.
Just wait. Just you wait.
If you're even just clocked in any of the TCH locations around the state, you'll get $100
Just you
if
wait.
that is hit anywhere else. And of course, if you do participate in the bad beat or are at the table where the bad beat happens, you'll get yourself an even juicier chunk of that prize. Now that 26,000 as of today is going to increase by $1,000 every day, and the qualifying bad beat hand will decrease. So 6 high straight flush today, we'll go down to 5 high straight flush tomorrow, and then they'll go down to quads beaten by a straight flush. So quad aces beaten by a straight flush, and that will go all the way down if it's not hit, all the while increasing by $1,000 each day until we get down to aces full of kings beaten by quads or better, and at that point it becomes just a matter of time until that bad beat is hit. The last 2 have been hit down at the Rio Grande Valley, so players there reaping the rewards of the bad beat jackpot. Austin's still looking for a bad beat hit. Let's see who comes away with it this time. ZeFish here, going to turn the up and down straight draw. Puts a little bet out there, and true to form, gets another bluff through without showing his cards. Do have some fun promotions down here in Austin as well. Do have a daily quads bonus that increases by $200 each day that it is not hit. Today it's pocket eights making quads. If that happens, you get paid out. I think it's $1,200 today. Something like that. $1,200, $1,400, something in that ballpark. I don't remember exactly. That does increase as well. So tomorrow it'll be quad nines for another $200 if nobody hits it, and so forth and so on. Once you get up to aces, of course, it wraps around back to deuces and continues to increase in value. So if you are in or around the Austin area, pop on into TCH here in Austin and try to get yourself a piece of the bad beat and the quads bonus. Not too far away, just a couple of days away from being able to hit the quads and lose to get paid out double time. 3 players to a flop, king high. Matt here with the toughest pairs and no kicker. Shorshi and Sreek working with just the ace high and the gut shot. So Matt will take a stab and drag the pot. 775 in the middle on that one. Moving right along here as we look at the earnings there. Shorshi's still up the most. ZeFish hot on his heels though. Both players up nearly 10K each.
What I was trying to say was Matt is elected to be pretty quiet tonight. So far hasn't said much, but putting on a pretty solid performance, I'd say. Nothing too out of line, and is winning about 1,300 on the night.
Yeah, certainly Jay and Mad have been on the lower end of the VPIP scale, but when they have played, has definitely made for some exciting and entertaining hands for sure. Mad there going for that one bluff with the queen jack across 2 streets, getting the top pair to fold. That was pretty spectacular.
Here we go, a little something for everybody. Top for Jay with ace king.
Have you been playing with Dom?
Yeah. He'll probably be here later tonight, I assume. So I assume he'll be here later tonight. Usually shows up on Tuesdays.
Yeah, the small continue from Jay here going to get called in both spots, so still 3 players here on the turn.
Uh-oh.
We haven't had a lot.
Bingo for Ram.
We put some here.
Ram just drills the nuts on the turn.
They had a tournament here last turn, so like every table was full of tournament. So then we just the normal TCH guys just went over there and played. Dog play and
Rather than allow Jay to check back, Ram's going to go ahead and take the lead here. 1/3 size thereabouts. Dude, Jay, I don't know. Wow, he's going to find the fold again. He's just
Wow.
near top of range and still finding the fold button. He's dwindled down to less than 2,000 in his stack, but he's still got what he's got.
It's a soul read fold. Folding to the nuts. He's going to be proud of that once he watches this back.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those nights where you just, like, lament every spot that you've been in. You're like, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks, and yet you still have chips, which is pretty much the best that can be said for the spots that he's been in.
ZeFish winning almost a stack of High Society, along with Shorshi. Pretty nice showing from both of them. Streak as well. Pretty solid 4K wins so far. JD with the ace queen. UTG 1 to 150. Standard open. Uh-oh. Yeah. These two guys have battled a ton. Jay caught in the middle of it with the same hand. Ace queen. 2,000 in the middle.
Yeah, and against a certain group of opponents, you might be compelled to just sort of stuff this in. You'd be like, yeah, it's under the gun open, but he can be kind of light, and Rom knows that, so kind of whatever. But, like, honestly, Jay, I mean, I was going to say he could just let this one go, and it would look brilliant, given the fact that JD is just blocking all of his outs. But once Jay calls here, I think JD is a little bit handcuffed into a call. Yeah, and that's what he does.
So I go all in.
Oh.
In the win.
Ace jack loose. Turn break, river jack.
How does an ace come when both of your opponents have aces in their hand?
Huh? No.
I'll tell you how, Ben. It's because blockers aren't real, much like birds.
Yeah, he would think about it. So one guy was saying
Calls the 600. This leaves Jay only 975 remaining behind in a $2,400 pot.
So who knows? I kind of want to ask him, but at the same time, it's like,
Yeah, a little bit awkward to jam there and try to get paid by anything worse if you're Jay. So I understand the call. JD coming along is just a little bit of an eyebrow raiser, really. You're just kind of like, oh, I mean, obviously all the chips are going in, and we're not going to let this one go. So Jay will stuff his remaining 1,000 for about 1/3 pot on the turn. JD is going to have an easy call, and at that point, Ram is going to be like, cool. I lose.
it was a good vibe. I agree.
JD happy to call for 975. Quick fold from Rom.
What's twice, Jay? It's up to you.
17 times.
I think I'm gonna need twice.
Twice? Okay. Twice is good.
Clubs. Oh, the
Ooh,
AQ.
what do you mean? What do you mean?
The AQ.
Clubs.
All right, let's
Is
go.
one's fine, guys?
Is one fine? Okay, she's going to do 2 times.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter.
He said 3 times. He said 3 times.
Do another one.
No, one more.
5 more.
One more time.
It's chop pot, folks.
Let's run out the rest of the deck.
And Red's play, I guess.
Flush draws, some bullshit. King. Some bullshit like kings or queens or some shit.
That was
A
an
little
interesting
bit of
string
fun
of
there. Yeah,
events.
they could have done one of those spots where it's like, oh, well, we don't want to chop the pot. We want someone to win, so let's just like red or black the next card.
I have a shower. I'm good.
But putting more cards out with that flop and turn,
30, 40
change
minutes.
anything?
I'm gonna go party now. And just went.
He's a nice guy, though.
Mark Wee asking, great folds, talking about Jay's a couple of folds there, but super nitty, no. Well, so super nitty, I would be cautious about calling the plays super nitty, but you're definitely looking at folds that go outside of the norm in terms of like, all right, given the size of the pot and the bet, and I'm at this part of my range, which is very, very near the top, Does that fold, happen at a high frequency? And I would say the answer would be no. But obviously, he's finding these folds and seeing the spots for what they are in the moment, which is fantastic, and preserving some of his chips in spots where I think a lot of players would just go broke, sort of shrug and put their chips in and find out the bad news. There are certainly times, though, I will say this, there are certainly times where you should lose. And I don't mean that in the sense that, like, you should lose, but, like, you're at a spot where you have a hand that you really shouldn't be folding. And if you actually are behind in that exact moment, like, that's just the way it is. But if you start folding that hand and trying to pick and choose, bob and weave, whatever, you're actually going to hurt yourself in the long run because you're folding too many hands.
Right. Be right back.
Top pair here for Shorshi. He'll make the call. And bingo, ZeFish right here on the turn. Does bring in the front door diamond draw. Neither player with a diamond, but ZeFish improving to Broadway. He is going to put in another bet, and wow, ace-8 right into the muck. Shorshi here is like, you know what? Ace-8 just doesn't perform well here, even if it's ahead, so you. All right, another look at those earnings. Shorshi, ZeFish, both up 5 figures. JD stuck the most of our remaining players. We did have the other J come in for a buy-in and take his lead. We have any eagle-eyed sleuths out there crunching the numbers and saying, wait a minute, where's the other 5,000 coming from? All right, folds to JD in the big blind. Ace-king, pretty good hand. He'll raise and take it.
Don't do that again.
Never gonna stop. Never gonna stop.
He just went in and out of the game all the time.
We'll take a peek at the V-pips here in a moment, but
went so great. Sit down again.
yeah, these players staying very active. Even Jay and Mad, who I would wager to guess Colin down towards the sort of the bottom end of the V-pip standing, still being quite active and playing quite a few hands.
Right around the 10K bounty on ZeFish's head. Is that kind of curious stuff?
Damn, man, I can't.
It's so crazy.
No, it didn't start there. You were there.
You just gotta walk in the
It's not walking. It was like...
Interesting. 10-8 of hearts there for ZeFish, if that's to be believed. Being folded up front. Okay, there's the V-pips. Jay, actually Jay leading the V-pips, so I apologize for that. Jay playing a lot of hands here. Cashman, Colin, and Ram all under 20%. Of course, Ram and Colin here with fewer data points. I guess Cashman too also 20 fewer hands than the remaining players that started the table, but yeah, those players all not playing a ton of hands. Everyone else all the way up to nearly 50% there, my goodness. Yeah, Jay playing the hands just unfortunately for him not losing. But now ZeFish waking up with 4 kings, a couple of cowboys, and Shorshi will defend from the straddle. So heads up. Here we go. Jack and high flop. One spade.
Extremely deep. And so it's like, you know.
Bet to fold.
Like, there's no point.
Nothing to see here.
And I was still giving action, man. Like, you were there. Like, we were paying pots 15, 20, 25K. And, like, you know, I win some, I lose some, I shut my mouth. Just being humble about it. But no, it's never enough. As you said, it's never enough.
It's never, whatever it is, it's going to be another level.
And like, I was there since 1 p.m. The guy showed up at like 6, 7.
Yeah.
Dude, it was past midnight. I was exhausted. All I wanted to do is just like drop it, you know?
This whole thing is so weird anyway. So like, that other people kind of want to decide when you're allowed to quit a card game. Like, man, if I want to go home, I don't want to continue playing cards. Go home. Like, that's why we play
They're just big fans. They're definitely not sports fans.
Southern Utah.
No,
Let's
there's
go.
action on this.
They're Southern Utah fans.
This is for the
That's the
love
most
of the game.
exciting thing I've ever had in a
They're
Southern
loving
Utah
the game right here, Jay.
This is like the. I forgot what.
Some excitement there in the room.
Below the
It's fun table banter, so just staying out of the way.
Only
We
D2.
have JD and ZeFish running into each other, both
Taco's a
with the
sicko.
same hand, king, jack,
I
offsuit.
know he's got action. Taco, the guy standing up.
Most aggressive player will win this one, most likely.
Double overtime or whatever it is.
ZeFish in position.
Southern Utah to
Take a
cover.
stab. And take it down. Once again, ZeFish, Dragon Pots
Whatever Taco needs.
without showdown. So JD here still looking to gain some traction and move back into positive territory. Stuck at 16,500 after that big cooler encounter with Shorshi. 25K pot go in the way of Shorshi, getting him unstuck.
Apparently Jeremiah has that mode.
Did ZeFish win a big one? Or has this just been progressive throughout the night?
ZeFish has mostly just been picking up the small pots very frequently. I mean, I would wager to say that he's won something like a quarter of the pots played tonight. He's just on a little bit of a tear.
How did he do late night that night?
Pretty good player.
Yeah, I think. I mean, he did have a couple of hands that were like the 4 or 5K range. I think. So made a decent
I got a
chunk.
little lucky on that.
I seemed
Certainly
like
haven't
him
seen
and
any of the
Dawn were about to
big-
get into a
big
battle when I left.
Yeah,
I was
no.
falling asleep at like 3 a.m.
Because he had his-
Doggy
he
G
had
wants to
there
know,
just for the
does the
banter.
house give anything for hitting a royal flush? No, don't have any of the like high hand promos going on. Once again, down here in Austin, we do a quads bonus that sort of changes daily,
Classic
sort
cooler
of
aces versus
increases
the
with
4-5.
the calendar day, etc. So quad 9 today, I think it is.
Classic. The 4-bet pot.
Quad 8, sorry, quad 8 today, but not at
See
TCH
the outdoor
challenge.
drones. That's how
Slightly different promotion.
What does that pay these days? The quads promo.
Sorry, what's that?
Trying to get back there.
What does that pay?
Trying to get
I think right now it's like 1,200 or 1,400, and
nice.
increases by $200 each day. Yeah, it's a fun little thing.
Faltering on the lucky part.
Yeah, Colin here, check calls the flop,
Lucky part's the
feels
best
compelled to check call the turn as well, most likely.
Check dark on turn, which
Said
is
that night, but I was like
just an
literally
interesting
only there because I was laughing so hard.
thing to take note of for Cashman.
Yes. It was just back and forth. I was dying.
The 8th board for the Trip Queens, obviously. Colin checks again. Cashman thinking about how to price this on the end to get paid by what? Like exact hands like Colin has.
Yeah, you know that if your opponent is on busted hearts, they're just going to snap fold no matter what. But if they have an inferior queen or they have a middling pocket pair like Colin has, they're going to be sort of handcuffed to call a big amount. And so Cashman can go for the big size up here. Looks like he's going to stick with a 3/4 sizing. Not going to go pot or more, which would have been fair game as well with the front door draw missing and there being just a very disconnected board, right? Like, you're not going to have a ton of bluffs, but if you do bluff, you're probably just going to go big. So he goes 3/4, and yeah, Colin here,
Let's go.
pretty tough to think about folding the 8. You do have the 8 of hearts, which is like the one downside
on the other side.
to your hand, but ace 4, ace 5. I mean, all of those hands have missed
Safin, name a single player.
and could bet. Yeah, you could even see a world within which you actually beat just the tiniest little fraction of your opponent's value range. Ace 7 of hearts that just sort of backed into the 7 is like, I don't know, YOLO, bet this and try to get called by 6s and 5s or whatever. So got a call with the 8s there, but does pay it off, and Cashman ships a nice little 6K pot.
Yeah, stacking 3K in profit, and Cashman now up about 3,000 on the night. Well played with the trips. Like, it's nice to have value there. And Colin was in a spot where it was kind of close, calling or folding, and did not want to get bluffed on stream, and so decided to call. Rom puts the $100 straddle on. Let's go. See JD rubbing his hands together.
Yeah, once the 100 starts coming out, these pots go very quickly. Jay here off of effectively 22 big blinds is going to limp from up front.
Shorshi up to 400 with the ace-5 suited. Love to see it. Here we go. We got a poker game now, folks. We got Shriek calling the 400 cold with ace-4. Rom, jack-6 suited calling. And now Jay, having limped early with king-jack off and 2100 behind, is going to call. Poker's dead, though, folks. Four ways. Excuse me.
One of the few flops that could come out that would miss all 4 of these players by a wide margin.
Now things get interesting on the turn for Rom, picking up open-ended straight draw and flush draws.
Yeah, definitely time to take a stab at this. Jay here does have the overcards and the jack, so the gut shot, but yeah, he's already folded, and unless Reek finds some kind of continue with the ace of hearts, which he did not, he's going to build away at the ram.
Fuck that guy.
I don't know what that was for, but
I don't know if
yeah,
they're watching basketball or if they were watching somebody play poker.
Fuck that guy. I wish we could see what they're seeing.
I know.
There's something highly entertaining.
I think that, yeah, I think it's basketball. So Jay's going to limp 50, queen jack suited. And Cashman, jack 9 suited.
What the hell is that? I've never seen like, and he just went 3 times. Boom. Fuck. Brick wall, brick wall, brick wall.
Small raise here from Cashman. Going to get called in 2 spots. Jay limping up front and calling. And Shriek getting a price from the small blind, so he's in there. He'll flop that. And how nice is it when you have 7-3 suited and this is the board? But Shriek's still not going to take a stab at this. Happy to let his opponents check behind and see this king of hearts peel off. Why not? Second nut flush for Jay.
Cashman with jack 9 high, forced to put something out there, trying to take it down. Nice little extra cheddar for Jay on the end, because Shriek, who knows, maybe he finds a call with a 3.
Yeah, and that would be the ideal scenario for Jay, because then he'll get to come in for the back raise, and of course he won't get a call out of either of his opponents, but that would have been his intention, to get called by one of them.
Fuck him up. Go.
Jay does indeed fuck them up and takes the pot for 2,700.
Respectfully, of course.
Of course. It's the only way to fuck someone up.
I was excited.
Doggy G says no sighting of trick time. I have not seen a trick time in a while.
No, it's... Has it been years yet? It's been at least a year.
I think that sounds right.
Disappointed me, son. You probably heard that before. Come on.
Raise to 150.
Ooh, another bird sighting. This time ZeFish from up front. Cashman next to act, going for the three-piece with the king-queen suited. Everyone else folds, and ZeFish here. Two of the deeper stacks at the table. It's time to build this pot. 4-bet incoming. Is out of position as well, so we'll see if he goes for the full 3x or even a little bit more. Full on 3x. There it is, 1,500. If you're Cashman, you don't love this, but king queen suited in position. I think we're going to see it flop.
Southern Utah.
Cashman makes the call. Here we go. King high with a diamond. Danger Will Robinson / Cashman. ZeFish here, massive range advantage. Continue for a little over 1/3. Cashman here, well aware of the fact that he is behind the ace kings and the pocket aces, pocket kings of the world, perhaps even some pocket tens. But no chance to get away, and
trips on the turn.
Yeah. Now the turns have tabled. ZeFish here, knowing that king's going to make up a pretty sizable portion of Cashman's continuing range.
Blocker bet inbound. Well, half pot. 23.
Yeah, you're still going for value. I mean, you completely unblock the queen jack suiteds, pocket jacks, pocket queens, right? Like this is going to be a good turn card, quote unquote, good turn card for pocket queens and pocket jacks. As you know, you're going to sort of discount the kings. So ZeFish still just fully betting for value here, not seeing this king as necessarily a scare card. Of course,
just call, right?
yes, no, I think you can fast play this if you want to, but given the fact that the stacked pot ratio is now under 1, and you basically just have the goods,
$10,000 pot.
you're just happy to play in position. And honestly, I think this is going to work out really well. Like, I think ZeFish is going to have to jam for value. It's one of those scenarios where, like, if you would check and call if your opponent went all in, then you would rather bet when you're technically behind to this specific hand, so that they don't check back pocket jacks or ace 10 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But ZeFish here, he is going to go for the check. He's going to give Cashman the opportunity to put all of his chips in, and then I think it's just a snap call, which is
Players all in.
yeah. Going to get the count. Perhaps the snap call, a little bit ambitious call on my part, but you know, there's a lot of chips over there, so we need to get these counted down. Find out exactly what he is looking at paying off / winning. This very much a situation where if you are folding this hand, you are folding everything except for very tippy top of your range, which is trips or better. And yeah, still feels pretty gross. Still feels pretty gross. Queen Jack just got there, right? Like, let's not forget that Queen Jack suited just got there with the 9 of spades on the end. So you'd almost rather have pocket queens to call this off than pocket aces. Honestly, in that vein, like from that perspective, aces could be a fold because you would rather have queens or jacks.
hit rewind from there and ask yourself.
That way your opponent can have the ace-x,
in March.
sort of ace-queen, ace-jack combos.
Although I sympathize.
18,000 in the middle. Looking at another 25K pot. Should ZeFish find a call with the two aces. This is a pretty brutal spot for ZeFish.
Why so much?
The non-snap from ZeFish makes Cashman feel pretty good about his hand. ZeFish maybe sheepishly asking why so much when it was less than the pot.
Yeah, just trying to pick up a read, try to see if his opponent is at all sweating. Cashman doing a pretty good job of staying stoic. Did have a little bit of a reaction on the first comment, but since then staying pretty stone-faced. Not trying to cover his neck or anything like that, just staring at
Doing the
board.
full Tom Dwan impression, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, just hoping for a call at this point. When he doesn't get snapped, he knows he's ahead, and at this point is probably thinking to himself, please have queens
How much we said?
so that you feel compelled to call.
76.25.
Huge pot for the young man that's, I think, maybe just now old enough to buy a drink. This guy's a crusher in his own right in a young age. In a $25,000 pot.
Yeah, it's just an ugly spot. I mean, here you are, you've got two aces. You never like to fold aces. And yet you've got to just say to yourself, like, what can my opponent be bluffing with?
Right.
Like,
with ZeFish holding the ace of hearts. Like, ace jack of hearts is not possible.
yeah. Ace, queen of hearts, ace, jack of hearts, not possible. Yeah. He lets
Fold,
it
wise
go.
fold.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch you in half an hour.
Yeah.
$18,000 pot,
Love
5K
me, it's
win.
war.
Fantastic fold there from ZeFish. That is a man that goes with his gut. You can tell that he just felt that he was behind.
Never folds.
Everything got there. The 9 of spades on the end really actually helping him because he can take all the queen-jack combos, the 4 combos of queen-jack suited
right in the middle of it.
that Cashman can be playing and just take those right out of the bluffing range, put them right into the value range, and just become super lopsided there. If you don't block any of that, it's time to just ditch it. And while it does feel like aces is pretty much top of range, it's
Next time
just
just tap me and
kind of a
I'll,
super bluff
by half,
catcher
you
and
know,
not even the best one.
Side together.
So props on the fold there. ZeFish preserves his winning night, at least
Pistol
as
ladder.
of right now. We'll get a look at the graphic here again momentarily. Did take a big hit, but
Actually, that's encouraging.
certainly still
I'll
going to
just
be
buy
up, I
half without
think,
even
about
seeing the either
5K.
hand. I'm just in. You can call.
Raise
I don't know. I don't
He
know.
doesn't care what half he gets. He just wants to.
And props to the young man for the heart. I mean, this is a super high stakes game. This dude's 21 years old and out here putting dudes to the test like a boss. Nice hand there for Cashman.
Yeah, he moves up to second position there on the leaderboard. 7,500 in the black.
I kind of hope you were
Still
incorrect
up,
with
a
whatever you
little
did.
over 5K.
And that way Chris would be like, maybe I don't have to like cover my face like a moron, you know? Like, I can still.
Yeah, that was a face. I think I'm over it.
Huh?
I think I'm over it.
You're over it?
Yeah, yeah.
As a face?
It was a face.
Okay.
102.
Pez asking, this is
I
just
looked
never
over
a
and I was
bluff
thinking,
like
I was like,
Jack
if he
10
loses this hand,
of
like, you know,
hearts.
like, or whatever, he's gonna be
Well,
like
you
back
have
to it.
to
It's like, oh,
you have
fuck,
to
he
ask
probably-
yourself what would continue
After you made some
on
comment too,
the
he's like, I
flop,
think you're not strong.
because
Half an hour
ZeFish
and
bet
I
the
received a
flop,
message.
right?
What a fish that you
And
What
it was
But you,
king.
they're gonna send you this message. You won't know what hand they're talking about. There's so many.
in a half hour.
I know,
King
I'm saying
10,
so many hands.
whatever,
What are we
right?
talking
So,
about?
so if you're gonna say,
How do you know?
would Jack 10 bluff? You have to give your opponent credit for taking a pair and turning it into a bluff when they could just check back and take their showdown, right? Because you have to remember Cashman went all in position. So is he capable of doing that? Sure. Does he think that he's going to get like pocket queens
Heads up.
to fold? Pocket aces to fold, maybe, right? I mean, it would be a sicko play. Like, imagine if you did just have Jack 10 there, rips it all in, and the pocket aces fold. We would all certainly do a round
That'd
of
be so
applause.
sick.
Yeah, it would be super sick. But is a player gonna do that? And it's like one combo, right? Like Jack 10 of hearts specifically that picks up the additional equity on the turn. It's like the one combo that would continue. I don't know. We are multi-way here, getting all the way
Jays,
to the river,
nines.
king, diamonds, and I mean, the nines are just still good somehow. Check it out.
Oh, no. Yeah.
JD getting slow rolled by Jay.
What time is it?
I do always think that's funny when like you get to like showdown when everyone's checked in this like 6-way pot. And it's like,
Of course I'm good.
How are you not turning over your nines? Like your nines
Right,
are super
right.
good. But like, there's always that guy with the nines that's just like waiting for somebody to show a better hand because they just like can't believe that they're gonna win.
Hours, you know, it's like a gorilla
Yeah.
combat.
And he owes the cards first. It's like a double tilting. It's like it was on you to turn them over first anyway.
Artillery.
Which obviously JD is like not gonna be sweating showing us on the 7th there.
Yeah.
But still, like, yeah, it's just a funny dynamic.
100 is on.
There are always those guys. There are these guys that I play with pretty regularly, where like you'll get to showdown, and they're like first to act by a mile. Like they're under the gun. Like literally, like come on, man. Like you everybody knows that you're supposed to show your cards first, and they just sit there and look around at everybody. And we're like, come on, dude. Like
You've been
you
doing
have
this
to turn
for
your cards
60
over,
years.
and they just keep sitting there waiting for someone to show a winner, so they don't have to show their like King 5 offsuit or whatever the hell garbage they're playing. Oh my god, it's just so funny.
It's clean off. Against the button. I should feel very offended.
I'm offended.
So do you have any, I think we've talked about this, but do you have any tournaments in your future in the next couple months, other than World Series, obviously? Is there anything coming up for you?
Yeah,
What are plans?
WSOP coming up. That's certainly the next like travel spot that I'm thinking about doing. We've got some local tournaments coming up here in the Austin area. I think April, May timeframe. So coming up
Okay.
post cruise. So I'll get to play a couple of things locally. Hopefully have a decent result before headed out to Vegas. But outside of that, not that I know of. I don't. At the moment, I don't have plans to travel anyplace.
Okay.
For
It always seems like there's some big series happening in Florida. Like some of those Hard Rock casinos seem to always be having like a pretty large tournament series that everyone travels for.
yeah,
Didn't
the
know if that was happening.
WPTs go through there pretty regular, as well as travel around the rest of the country. And honestly, of the big brand poker series, WPT I think puts on a really fantastic show, and definitely look forward to playing those events, whether it's at Hard Rock Hollywood down in Florida, like you said, or at any of the other locations.
And you've made it up to Choctaw, haven't you, up here to play the
Oh,
WPT
absolutely.
there?
Yeah, no, every chance I get, I go to Choctaw. That is one of my favorite stops. WSOP, in my mind, has sort of deteriorated a little bit in terms of the value for the grinder,
Yeah.
of which I consider myself. And so the extra rake and the lower payouts over a larger percentage of the field, like all of that just kind of takes away the luster of the WSOP for me in terms of the circuit events. Obviously, going and winning a ring is still great. There's still good prize money if you take down a top 1, 2, or 3 spot. But the main events, of course, still have good value, especially there at Choctaw. I mean, you know, I'm not trying to dog them super hard, but as far as what I've done in the past in terms of traveling for WSOP circuit stops versus what I'm doing now, it's night and day.
Would you like?
Yeah.
What's
I used to go to Cherokee. I'd go to Choctaw. I've been to where on earth did I even go? I went to some riverboat casino in St. Louis. You know, like I've gone to different places to go play. Planet Hollywood, right? Like go to Vegas for some of those. Now I'm like, can I be bothered to drive to Choctaw this time or not? You know? Because like I can't even play the side events anymore. It's like the opening event, the first weekend, maybe. But then you got to drive back home, or you got to stay there and play all the events during the weekend. Those ones suck. So it's like,
super fast structure, tons of rake.
yeah,
To me,
tons
like
of rake and
my big
turbos.
gripe is the lighting in that room. Like every time I go, it's like, gosh, this like hurts my eyes the way it's lit in there, which is like such a petty complaint. But that's the one thing that I always get annoyed with. It's the Choctaw one specifically.
Yeah, I mean, ambiance is certainly important. For me, it's much more attuned. My distaste is attuned to the way that they are managing it. Of course, they still bring in all the best dealers, the best floor staff, and everything. But yeah, the structures and the payouts, honestly, pretty annoying.
It's not as bad when it's your own kids, bro. It's not as bad. His mom's really with him. So.
There we go, JD with the top trips, turning into top boat. I try to get paid by anything. That 450 and pray. And Sreek here.
Yeah, we track like
Queen high, actually not that bad of a hand, although he would prefer to have a spade if he was going to hero this down.
20 times.
Obviously losing to king high and better. But
he was really good, but
bet the turn and got called, so that's the piece of information that cues him to fold here. It's like, what can I bet turn, get called by, and then still be on the river? Really not much.
I get it, man.
Probably some chops in there at best, you know?
Call Chris a China from me on the street, please.
How long does it take for 2 nights, or maybe?
Really, I mean, I read a lot about it, but it
No,
really
I
kind of
just made
depends.
that up.
But you're probably looking.
So you didn't get to play the mystery valley.
No.
And I know you've got a new kiddo on the way, so you said you're not going to be able to make it out for any of the WSOP events, is that right?
As of now, no. She's coming in the first week of June, and so kind of the time before is like, oh, the baby could come anytime. And then the time after is like, we have 2 kids. There's no chance you're going to play freaking poker. So maybe my pitch is going to be for maybe like the winter WPT series in Vegas that has a couple mixed game events, assuming it comes back.
Very cool. Well, I hope you're able to do so.
Thank you.
And I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. I will need it. I will need it. One of my goals for the year was to win a tournament. I didn't specify what size or what buy-in, and so still going to try to find a way to make that happen. I wrote the goal down, so it's real.
Nice. Well, if we get to December 31st and you're still working on that one, we'll play a heads-up tournament, one hand, and I'll fold. And
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It might just come to that. Flip and go.
And the winner has to do a broth bomb. So,
She took my cappuccino.
Happily.
Yeah.
Oh, she's drinking. She's throwing it away. I was like,
well, I hope you ship something before then. I hope that I also ship something before then. It would be a pretty fantastic little notch in the belt to take down a big tournament this year.
Absolutely. I mean, it just, you see all these people that aren't any more special than you are taking them down. Sometimes taking them down multiple times. It's like this. Why not me, you know? Got to play to win.
You're not wrong. I will tell you. Calling the final table of the tournament on Sunday. Certainly was looking at the plays that were made and everything, and saying to myself, man, you know, if I could have made it to that table with any chips at all, like I feel like I would have had a chance.
And that's what's so infuriating is Rom flops bottom set. That's what's so infuriating is like, or that's what makes it worse when you just continue to have a dry spell in tournaments. It's like none of these, the people that make it to the final table don't seem that special. I mean, save for like, there's crushers for sure, but it just seems like you just need your time. You need things to go your way. Just one time to speak in cliches. And continue to, that's what brings everybody back though, because everybody's looking for their one time.
That's exactly right. And yeah, and of course, I'm not taking away anything from the players that were at the final table. I just mean that, like, you can tell when someone is an experienced tournament player when they, like, understand ICM, they're approaching spots, like, very methodically, whatever. And like what I've seen pretty consistently, and this is not just a comment about the final table stream here on TCH Live, but at tournaments that I've seen around the state over the last couple of years, the final tables of these big tournaments here in Texas are just chock full of recreational players. And it's fantastic. It's amazing. Like, hats off to all those players. And at the same time, it's like, how on earth is this like? This is real life. Like, this is amazing. This is our existence here in Texas. Is we have these huge field tournaments, massive prize pools, and like the everyday guy is getting in there and mixing it up and taking down like 5- and 6-figure scores. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I want to be part of it.
Right, me too. And I continue to try, but for some reason, there's always the next one, though.
There is always the next one. Matt here, he can go to Taco Bell. Look at that, $75.
75. That's a strong Taco Bell order for sure.
That's like 10 of those grilled, not grilled stuff, the grilled cheese burritos. I would not recommend trying to eat 10 grilled cheese burritos in one setting.
I don't think Taco Bell would either.
Yeah, there's probably a disclaimer. If you eat 10 or more, we are like not liable for your medical and or plumbing bills. I think I could house 2 of those and then just be like, I can't move.
Yeah, right. And then you pay the price for the next month.
I mean, a month is a strong
At our age, a month.
I mean, you've got like a Taco Bell hangover that's just like obliterating you. I don't have that, man. I tell you, Taco Bell treats me good.
You just
$100
peak
straddle
physical
coming in
performance.
regular. Sorry, what were you saying?
I was just saying because you're in peak physical performance
That's right.
condition. $100 straddle is on. You're right. Let's turn it up.
Oh, you're talking about.
I am a real specimen over here right now. I'll tell you what.
2H for Shorshi, calling the 300 from ZeFish. UTG2 open with the 10-8 suited.
He's been at his ranch for like 2.5 weeks. One in Fredericksburg.
Heads up.
Bird sanctuary.
Think of a
7.
Queen, queen, 3.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
300.
ZeFish, the pre-flop aggressor, he will continue 300 into 800, so shade over 1/3, and Shorshi will make the raise and take it down very quickly.
Straddle 100.
Shorshi back on top, winning 10,000. Cashman having a good night. Plus 7,000. JD still at the bottom, losing about 16K.
Yeah, Sreek here quietly putting together a pretty nice little night as well. I mean, when you factor in the $50 sort of blind that we've been playing with most of the evening. 100, of course, on pretty regular now, but, you know, up about 40 big blinds, thereabouts. Not too bad.
Raise to 250.
Regrets.
Ace, king suited here for Cashman with the $100 straddle on. Sreek gonna call. Matt gonna call. I think Graham here. He's got a pretty good spot to call with his ducks and try to find a set. So he's in there. Now, honestly, JD could have very nearly closed the action with his own Jack-10 off, but he's out of there. We've got 4 players to have flopped. Broadways and the very bottom of the deck represented.
Here we go.
Middle card.
Matt and Shriek like it.
Certainly not the worst things in the world. And yeah, when it checks to you, you got 2 overcards and a gut shot. Why not take a little stab?
He calls him. Oh, Doctor, what do you get?
3 to a straight. Yeah.
Oh, straight.
Give me another queen.
There's certainly a part of you that wants to continue with any pair, but Ram, he's out of position. Deuces are just very rarely going to improve. I think the fold is correct, even though he did have technically the best hand. Let one of these other players do the battling for you, and Sreek will oblige. Peels one off. 6 of clubs, no help. Quick check, check. Deuces would have been good, and here we are on the end. Mad with the queen high. Gonna win if we get to showdown, but Sreek not gonna show down his jack high without a little bit of effort. 2K in the middle. Let's see what he goes for.
Now we're playing poker, folks. Instant fold for Matt, and Sreek takes it down with the worst of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that one for sure.
Let's go.
2 minutes.
And 77 coming up. Final hour of the stream. Wow, blew by. Pretty fun game tonight. Interesting spots. Ben K, Aaron McAvoy with you. Live from Dallas and Austin. 25, 25, 50, no limit. Hold'em is the game. Real money at stake. Live from Texas Card House in Dallas. Thanks for hitting the like button and subscribing to the stream if you like this kind of free high-stakes poker content. We do this a lot here on this channel. 5 nights a week.
The 100 and the $200 straddle on this time around.
Let's
Colin will be
go.
first to act with the 9, so let's get some spice into the pot right off the bat.
Double
Also,
hoodies and a beanie. 2 9s in the double straddle. What do you make it? 4x. 900. Excuse me. 4.5. Jay.
any of our chat pros that are watching and want to get in on the action, click the link posted in the chat. Sign up for a future date and get in the mix and show us what you've got. Yeah, Jay here looking at this big raise. A lot of chips out there, a lot of dead money. Ace Queen suited pretty good. He's gonna lay it down.
Oh, Jay. I think that was your spot, buddy.
I'm stuffing it there.
Yeah.
I'm stuffing it there.
Raise and take it.
It's a big raise up front, certainly. But 200, 100, 50, 25, 25. Let's do some math real quick. We're talking about $300, $400 in there. He makes it 900. So, you know, it's not even that crazy of a raise. He's basically like telling everybody, get out of my pot. Ace Queen suited? I'm just letting her rip, man.
Yeah.
At that point, on $200, he had less than 4K, so he's less than 20 big blinds. That hand solidly at the top of your jamming range. You're going to be jamming pretty much everything, playing everything as a jam, I should say, even your pocket aces. So I'm stuffing it. I think you are, but you know, at the end of the day, we've seen him zig and zag, bob and weave at the right time, so he's sticking with his reads and hanging on to the chips he's got.
Ooh, with the 2 pointy aces.
What do you know?
What do you know? Let's see if he gets in there. He's going to 3x it.
Next time,
Three of us are paid for that, probably roughly. With the deuce 3 and 4. I think.
Keep it going.
Back over to Ram here. And he's just going to ditch the sevens. Hasn't seen a lot of aggression out of Jay. He's like, nah, this isn't the time.
7 is like average likely to come out, right? And ace is
So Jay misses out on the opportunity with the ace queen suited, picks up a little bit with the aces, you know, a little tit for tat.
Tit for tat, yeah.
On average.
Do you have any tattoos, my friend?
Me? I do not. No. I've yet to have something I feel strongly enough about to permanently tattoo. Do you?
I do not either, but you know what? I'm about to go on a cruise to Mexico and Honduras.
Yeah,
so.
that's the time to do it. Yes.
No,
Clearest of thinking.
Yeah. I've never been particularly enthusiastic about the idea of getting something tattooed on my body.
Me neither.
I've certainly seen many tattoos on other people's bodies that I thought were quite enjoyable to look at, but
Yeah.
that was about as far as I went with it.
Yeah,
terms
you
of
like
speculating
appreciate
on it.
the in state. Like a lot of people look really badass with like sleeves and really like well curated tattoos, but to get there, you got to really buy in, and I am not there in my mind.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about it just doesn't really speak to me, but you never know. You know, I'm at about that age where you start buying like really fast cars and doing crazy shit like jumping out of planes and getting tattoos. So
To feel something, yeah.
yeah, so maybe. And maybe this will be the time. It'll be like a Jimmy Buffett song where I'll wake up with some shit that I didn't
That's
remember
right.
getting, and well, now I've got this on my forehead. You know.
On my forehead, yeah.
Flop top pair for Sreek. Check calls the bet a 250 from JD. Checky on the turn. Queen of clubs now on the end. Gives JD a little bit of showdown value, and after Sreek checks it over, it can't really, although, I don't know. Maybe JD does go for a little bit of thin value. Let's find out.
Queen. Yes, sir.
And that did not work out that time for JD. So far, things have not gone JD's way for the last 3 hours. I'll never forget one of these high stakes streams. There was a newcomer that I guess felt like the table wasn't talking enough, and within the first like 30 minutes of the stream, completely silent, he speaks up and says, "Anybody got any cool poker tattoos?" And everyone, I'm not sure anyone responded to it at the table. I mean, this is like a big high stakes game like this, and he was like, "Anybody got any cool poker tattoos?" That just tickled me.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes, I mean, you know, you go down the rabbit hole. It's like poker's my thing, so let's get some sleeves with cards and jokers and all kinds of stuff on there. But yeah.
Not for me. I just my tastes change so frequently that I don't trust myself to. I'm pretty confident I'm not going to be into the same things 2 years from now that I am now. Even.
Oh, but that's a different take on why you don't get a tattoo. Yeah, I hadn't really thought of it from that perspective. I guess I've been pretty consistent in my worldview for a while now, so I feel pretty stable or whatever in that regard. Where I wouldn't, like, I don't think I would get a tattoo of something that I wasn't certain was like part of my identity.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because that would already be like a big step for me to get a tattoo. So it would have to be something very meaningful, which would have to be core identity. But anyways, let's get back to the poker before we lose all of our viewers, or at least one of them. We've got a couple of players with big clubs. Shorshi on queens, raising it up to 900. Back over to Ram. He could play this one in position, and he will.
Let's play a big one. Wheel draw. Nice flop for Shorshi.
Yeah, if there was one club out there, I would say that Ram could find a reason to continue. This is going to need to be a pretty small bet if you are Shorshi to keep Ram around. It is small, but is it small enough is the question.
700.
Ram says yes. Free ball corner pocket would be nasty, but instead it's top set now for Shorshi. These two players very deep, stack to pot ratio at 4. Shorshi needs to go big if he wants to get all the chips in by the river. If he does have a hand like ace jack, king jack, spades, something like that, he is going to continue barreling and he's going to go big. 2,400 is the number, 2/3 thereabouts. That's So no.
Ram
For
finds the
Rams,
fold.
wave the white flag.
Shorshi doing pretty well for himself tonight.
Absolutely right. Well atop the chip lead standings, nearly double the nearest player in earnings. Cashman up 6,800. Sreek up a quiet 5K. ZeFish drifting down, still obviously up a good healthy chunk, but now the lowest on the totem pole in terms of winners. Got a question for you though.
All right.
Check this out. So put yourself into fantasy land. You're at the final table. You're down to, you know, let's say the final 6 players in a big multi-table tournament. What game are you playing that you feel like you've got the best chance to bring it home for all the glory? What are we playing?
Raise 275.
Final 6.
Like big tournament, like life-changing money up top. This is your game. Like this is the one that you want to be playing. Where do you feel the strongest?
Can you not get a live?
Probably.
I know you're a mixed game player, and I don't bring that up because most people would be just like, "Well, hold them." What do you?
My
asking?
limit hold'em. Yeah, I'd probably limit Omaha 8 or horse.
Do what?
Okay.
I think limit Omaha 8. I'd probably feel the most confident, or even like triple draw mix, deuce to 7, ace to 5, Badoogie.
Okay.
Badusi and Badesi. Like, I think for the most money, like if I had to gun to my head, put up $10,000 and try to run deepest, it'd probably be limit Omaha 8.
Yeah, I don't even mean like put money in, just like, you know, you're there. Like if you've somehow got there, like which one would you feel the strongest about? It sounds like you've got a couple of different games that you like.
Yeah, but I think Omaha 8, I think I'd have the strongest chance of actually taking the thing down. I've spent the most time playing that, and like enjoy that game the most, I think.
Very cool. All right, one liner to a straight out here. Sreek with the 2 pair, still gonna bet it for value after we go check, bet, call on flop, check, turn, and check from Colin on the end. Colin's like, I don't know, is there ever a world within which I can check raise this as a bluff? Decides against it, Sreek will take it down.
Same question back to you. I assume I know the answer, but maybe not. What game are you playing?
It's a 5-draw Badoogie. No, I'm kidding. Definitely no limit hold'em. I am very excited to go play the Deuce of 7 single draw tournament, 1500 out in Vegas. I was looking at the schedule, and it's actually going to work out perfectly because the Millionaire Maker is the weekend right before the Deuce of 7 single draw tournament.
Oh, nice.
So ideally, I will be running very deep in the Millionaire Maker and won't even get to play the Deuce of 7 single event. But if all else fails, I will be there at the same time and can just sort of consolation myself right into Deuce of 7 and hopefully run that up into a sick run.
This is the best time where it's like, I busted this tournament. There's 90 other very ideal tournaments I could hop into and play that I'd be excited to play in. It's like such a unique time in poker each summer.
It is, and like you don't even have to just stay with the WSOP events too. Like,
right.
And anybody that's ever gone to Vegas during that time is well aware of this. That there's Venetian, there's Wynn, there's
Golden Nugget,
Caesars,
Orleans.
Nugget, yeah, there's the Orleans. I mean, like there's just unreasonable number of tournaments. Everything across the board from No Limit Hold'em, obviously dominating the situation, but you've got all the 4-card variants, you've got 5-card, you've got all the mixed games, the limit events like stud. It's just, there's a plethora of events that are catered towards every different poker player, all happening at the same time across every different buy-in. I mean, you can go over to the Aria and play, 100K buy-ins or whatever during that time. Like, it's just absolutely fantastic.
And even at the low stake side, the fields are so huge for all the no limit events. Like you can have a real good shot of making a big score at any of those places. Like running it up from $300 to 40,000 or something in any one of those like high guarantee large field events.
Yeah. I mean, even the dailies. I remember this was probably 5 years ago now.
That straight
Back
just
at the
drills the
Rio.
nut straight.
Yeah, let's finish this hand real quick here with the redraw to the Royal.
Where's the janitor?
Why not? ZeFish, though, on 2 pairs. He's going to bet this for value. Not going to love getting check raised here, which I do suspect is incoming. If you are streak and you turn the nuts like this, you really have to start getting value from your hand up front. It's going to be tough to get value on the end because you have a natural check, and he does. He checks it over. What do? Here's ZeFish. You lose to any ace. Of course you check it back. Yeah. Ooh. Don't love this play. Gonna be pretty honest about that one. If you're streak here, your hand is super nutted. Need to put more chips in the pot. The only way to do that is to seize the betting lead on the turn, because that's like the nut worst river card.
Yeah.
And it feels super gross to just like start donking in on the river, but he had to. That was the worst river card. The only way he was going to get paid was to donk there. And he honestly could have gotten paid by any ace because there'd just be aces and 4s with the king on board kicking. So even if he bet 1/3 pot or something to make it look like he's blocker betting or something, he could get paid. But to check is, oh, it's sad to see a hand that strong not get its share of value. Obviously not trying to get ZeFish stacked for a bunch of chips, but just the way that the hand could have played out.
Raise to 300 from Shorshi. 3-bet to 1,500 with the 2 10s from Rom. Back over to Shorshi, who running pretty hot tonight, super deep. Would love to see a flop with this hand specifically.
Oh, damn it. I got hustled.
Yeah, 10, 9.
Help.
One of my favorite suited combinations.
Shorshi would have loved to see it at one more club. Leo Joseph with a nice philosophical question. How much money do you need to win at a major event so that you don't gamble for the next 5 years to keep a promise?
Sort of like, I guess to rephrase that, like someone sort of poses you a question of like, all right, you get one more win, and then you can't gamble for 5 years. And you're like, all right, but it needs to be a win over this amount. What is that amount? Well, that one doesn't really work for me since I play this game all the time. And like, if I just stopped playing this, I guess it would have to be like the main event, 5 years of just like paying the bills. But yeah, for maybe more like a recreational player, I'll let you answer it because I wonder what it would be for you.
Yeah, I think it's so funny because like you say a number and then someone reduces it a little bit and says, "Really, you wouldn't stop playing for 200,000 less?" The number that came to mind was like 2 million, where that's enough to like get some nice passive investment income going. I think if you can get it in some like reasonably conservative investments.
Yeah, some SVB bank.
SVB, maybe some FTX.
Yeah.
Spread across those two. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think maybe 2 million is the number. $1 million after taxes like doesn't move the needle investment wise. I mean, it's ridiculous to say because I don't have that at all, but I'm just saying like, all right, to basically give up your favorite hobby for 5 years and chance of making more, I don't know, 2 million seems like a nice round number that I could find other things to do with my time and invest that. I'm assuming 2 million post-tax. What would you say? I mean, since you're a pro, like you might need more if it's like your entire livelihood.
Yeah, it would be tough to really dissect that one. Yeah, and then I mean, it's a fun question though. It's a fun question, and I always think that those sorts of hypotheticals are kind of fun. You know, would you do this for this amount, or would you rather have this or that? And those are always fun because it sort of digs into the human psyche a little bit. But yeah, on some level, when it starts to compete with just like your livelihood, you're like, well, I can't. I mean, it would be an astronomical amount. Like the answer won't make you feel warm and fuzzy inside because it seems like, ooh, like we really got him to the edge of what he would accept. It's like, nah, bro, like I got bills to pay, so gonna need this to be a lot of money. All right, we are heads up to a turn.
I'll
Ram
shriek
here.
again.
Yeah, but Ram has a pretty darn good chunk of equity here. I mean, it doesn't look like it. We see that 3 of his outs are gone, so he's only on 21%, but he's certainly not going anywhere from a standpoint of I'm on the button, and I've got a gut shot and a flush draw. And if I hit, I could definitely get paid by some big hands, and we can see that he is up against the biggest hand, the Nizzles. Ram does make the call. Here we go to a river. A little offsuit 3 would be absolutely disgusting, as he would get cooler with the wheel. Spade would have given him the winner. Doesn't come either way. It's always coming deuce. And here we are. Streak now going to go for value, and Ram left with just 5 high.
Steven's parents have been here as well. Did you meet him? Yeah. Did it seem like he was there? Daddy, yes.
Yeah, maybe the questions or the hypotheticals that I find the most intriguing are the prop bet ones, where it's like, let's actually pick a number, and then you have to hold to something for a certain amount of time. Like Caitlin Komeski, right? Local fan favorite. She's been blowing up the airwaves recently with her social media content. Good friend of mine down here in Austin.
She won the GPI award, did she not? I
She
think
did.
I saw.
GPI award for like best up and coming content creator. Fantastic.
That's really cool.
Fantastic accolades for Caitlin, and very well deserved. She had a bet going where she couldn't drink for, it was at least a month. It may have been longer, I don't remember, but it was like her and a buddy. They were like, let's just like take our like foot off of the gas for drinking for a month or whatever it was. And it was like a friendly bet. I don't remember what the payoff was. It was mostly just like they both were going to try to stick to it, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, take something, whether it's drinking or something completely unrelated, that you find yourself doing a lot of, or whatever. Maybe it's a bad habit, or you want to introduce a new good habit, or whatever it might be, and then put some kind of value on, right? And try to utilize that as a motivator. I think those are pretty cool.
But you just need someone to take the other side of that, right?
You need someone to take the other side of it, and you need it to be a good enough sweat for both people, both participants, that, you know, it's not just a foregone conclusion what's going to happen. Right? Sometimes you see these where it's like someone proposes like, oh, well, you know, I'll give you like $2,000 to your $100 if you can make 20 free throws in a row. And it's like, well, okay, like it's just kind of nonsensical, because like I'm never going to make 20 free throws in a row. Even a professional is going to have a hard time making 20 in a row. So like you're just getting my $100 most of the time. And so those sorts of bets are kind of meaningless. But if you pick something that is like, all right, like, you know, you've got a real shot at doing this, but it's going to take time and dedication and effort. And if you do it, then, you know, you're going to reap the rewards. Those ones are fun. And the ones that I was doing with the Queen of Felt, right? Like, she was obviously taking on a lot of the responsibility. It was like, I have to win more than $5,000 in this game. And like, this is not like a 100, 200 game where like 5,000 is just a few blinds. These were big stakes. And so, you know, I had to do more push-ups than she did if I lost, and I did the broth bomb. But you know, it's fun when you challenge yourself too. You know, you put a high bar on what you're working towards. So
Absolutely.
I don't know. I like that kind of stuff. It's fun.
Yeah, for sure.
At the same time that I like it in concept, when people propose shit to me that I'm like, I'm not sure I want to do that.
Right.
I'm like, oh.
Executing on it.
Yeah, I'm like,
Because like in theory, it's like, of course, you can do anything for a sprint, like a short amount of time. But then in practice, like you start to play some pretty serious mental games a few days in.
Like there was one that was getting floated around where one of the guys here, somebody was like, will give you $5,000 if you wear women's clothing for a month straight. And like, he was ready to take the bet, but then there were too many stipulations and questions that came up about like mom jeans or whatever. Like, you just, the fact that you bought like women's jeans doesn't count, you know, like it was going to become a whole thing. And like, I think it was pretty clear that his plan was to just like go to Payless or whatever the hell, like store and just like buy women's clothes, but it was just gonna basically look like his normal outfit and get an easy $5,000. So you have to be careful about people that'll sort of grift you.
Hack it,
you
yeah.
know, like find the loophole or whatever. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, you got to really define the contract, whether it be just verbal or written.
Yeah, and have a good escrow agent, someone that's going to oversee the bet.
Wow, mad. What a flop. 10's full.
Yeah, his opponents really don't have anything, though, so it's going to be tough to get paid here.
Yeah.
Honestly, wouldn't even hate just checking this, right? Just check it back, let
Have
them
everything.
see a free turn. I understand betting, but...
Colin looks like he wants to continue.
Well, for 300, it's 1/3. He's got 2 overs, right? Like, even if he's behind right now, he could see a lot of turn cards that, in his mind, might improve
like
him.
not even close.
Terry Black's here.
Any
Terry Black's
face
in
card,
Austin.
really.
Black's in Austin. Like not even close.
He is going to peel
Is
for
the-
his sake.
have you been to
Doesn't
the
want to
two
see
Terry
a
Blacks
face card.
Here and
I've been to the
Uh-oh.
There is one.
I went to a place in Austin, but it wasn't Terry Black's. I don't think. I don't remember what it was.
the Terry Blacks in Austin was
Good pull. Good pull this time.
and the pick and luck.
Good pull this time.
What a terrible card for Colin on the turn. Thinking he hit his money card.
Yeah, I don't know.
Gonna need another queen. Doesn't find it.
Diamond, diamond.
Comes running hearts. Colin here has the king of hearts.
Bit big.
Good luck. Good luck.
Just a little tickle of the pot. You really don't see this very often. Perhaps Matt even trying to induce a check raise or something with this tiny little bet. 800 into 2,900. Like, you just don't see
Made the right
this.
play.
He might be running into it if he starts reaching.
I keep forgetting to say it. I'm moving my leg over.
I mean, this almost looks like an ace-10 type bet, right? Like ace-10 with the ace of hearts, where you're just like, I only lose to a 5 and like a queen, so I can still bet small and try to get value. But yeah, Colin is just going to call. Wow.
His full is good for 4,500. Mad getting seems to be the max, I think, with this. Well, until the river, it probably could have left a little bit on the table, but pretty ideal to have his opponent float with king high, drill top pair, and then all on river.
Yeah, so he gets 3 streets of value, and we need to keep in mind that that is true, right? 3 streets of value for a total of what, 800, 700, 300. So we're talking 1,800 across 3 streets. Had he gone for the check back on the flop and then, you know, bets turn, sizes up on river, whatever, he probably still gets paid. Does he get paid the same amount? Maybe, maybe not. Does he get paid more if he bets larger on the river? Maybe he goes too big and his opponent folds. Like, I mean, we can nitpick it all the way down to the individual dollar of, you know, let's go into the alternate universes and find out how much he could have gotten paid. At the end of the day, he gets 3 streets of value by flopping top boat. Like, that's still a pretty impressive result. And, well played, regardless of whether we think, you know, maybe the sizing could have been a little bit different. We can also see the cards, so we know that his opponent has a strong enough hand to pay it off. So, you know, had he been on a more marginal holding, pocket 7s or something, right? Does pocket 7s find like the hero call for 800 on the end? Maybe. And we're missing out on that by seeing the king queen there. So. The end of
2
the day.
king is going to take it down for Cashman.
And JD continues to drift downwards, 18K in the hole right now, but still kicking and still a strong player. Plenty of opportunities to bring it back.
Yeah, he's just waiting for another massive pot with Shorshi, Shrieker, Cashman to basically get himself even. It could happen. We got 30 minutes remaining in this high stakes stream, and I've seen much crazier things happen.
he is in the sunken place. A full double up would not get him back to break even.
Right,
but
right.
Yes.
It would
it
feel
would
like
do
it
a
maybe.
darn good thing for him, you know? He'd feel pretty good. He wouldn't care about being stuck $800, $900, $1,000, whatever it would be after the other dead money in there. So he'd just take a double up at this point.
Watch any documentaries ever? Like sports? I started watching like sports documentaries a while back.
All right. Keep in mind that we do have a misread card here potentially, as one of Sreek's cards is unread, and this frequently leads to a cascade down the line. I'm going to give ZeFish credit for the pocket nines at least, but
Untold series.
the rest of these hands not too sure what we're working with.
Some of them are like just one off like
Raise 1,200.
Sreek going to come in for that check raise.
Never heard of, or like.
no. People
And this is a really ugly spot for
like all
pocket
sides.
nines.
Like
If you even stick around and a 10 peels off, whether it's a diamond or not, are you even good? And what happens if you do turn a set of nines? Are you good then? But ZeFish will make the call, and again, we may have a misread here. It may not even be pocket nines for ZeFish, so like, be careful.
Could also be Jack 5.
Jack 5, really good hand on this board. Jack 4, perhaps even better, has a blocker.
Did something per person, and that's exactly what it was. 200 per person. There were 4 guys
then,
right now.
like eat a note.
We ate a lot. And drinks.
And then that's what I was really and then they did one on the
I didn't realize you
NBA.
could spend $200 a person about
I forget the guy's name, but he was like the NBA ref. He got like
Shorshi just said that he spent $800 at Pecan Lodge on barbecue, which seems extreme.
I mean, I'm sure he fed like his full family or a bunch of friends or something, but Pecan Lodge, oh my goodness. I haven't been to much barbecue up in Dallas, but Pecan Lodge, killing. Big
Yeah,
fan.
but Pecan Lodge really, really good. Shorshi was talking about how he didn't like it as much as Terry Black's in Austin, which I think is fair because Terry Black's in Austin is pretty goated to me. I've only been once and I loved it.
Cherry Black is amazing. The beef ribs, absolutely.
Oh, it's just bananas. It also doesn't help that you have to like wait like a long time in line, so you get starved. But everything there is so good.
Well, Franklin's you have to wait in line. Okay, and maybe the Terry Black's like the main location, but I have a location just like 2 blocks away from my place. There's like very rarely a line.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I think we went to the main one. We lived in Austin. We went to the main one. And I think we waited probably for an hour or two. Wasn't anything like Franklin's, where it's like you got to wait all day.
back in like the 90s.
It's long enough for Benny Boy to get quite famished. Famished.
Yeah, for anybody around the Austin area or who does come in, whether to play or just to visit, I definitely recommend another really delicious barbecue place called Interstellar Barbecue, which is a little bit north of TCH Austin, a little bit north and west. Fantastic pork belly.
Is it new
Love the pork
or is
belly
it,
there.
I've never heard
No,
of it.
I don't know how long they've been there, but they've been there as long as I've known, and I know that's not saying much, but they've been there for at least a couple of years, probably much longer. They do a killer job, absolutely killer job.
I guess, right?
Yeah, for now.
Who's gonna stay anyway?
Yeah, I hope that my words reach someone, just like my TV show recommendations. There's someone in Austin that's like, wait a minute, what is this? I've never heard of this Interstellar Barbecue. And that you go there and you enjoy everything, because everything I've had has been fantastic, and especially get the pork belly. And if you're not a super sweet tooth or you just love the taste of pork belly like me, tell them to hold off on extra glaze, because they will go a little bit overboard on the peach glaze.
Gosh, pork belly is one of my favorite tastes. Man, that is so good. Whether it be in barbecue or Asian food. Gosh, pork belly is so good. Bottom set for Rom. Open-ended straight draw for Sreek and an overpair for JD. Let's go. Heads up.
Yeah, JD here getting the min-click treatment. Definitely don't love it given the board texture. The deuce of clubs comes in as well. Kind of a scary card for both players. Should be interesting to see how this gets navigated. Still going to keep the size large is RAM. 0.6K here. Things are starting to look pretty gross for JD.
He wins 3 times. He says he's the PLO pro.
There are still plenty of, I say plenty, there are a handful of
Wow, JD
hand
shows
combinations.
respect.
Yeah, there's a handful of hand combinations that you can still be ahead of, but it's just going to be so difficult to navigate the river. If you have the king of clubs as JD, I think it's a slam dunk call. Just because you're in position, you always have a chance to improve, and if your opponent ever gives up on the river, you just snap check back and take your showdown. But without that extra insurance policy,
Still hurts to fold the kings as an overpair. Don't care who you are. Not a fun feeling. Especially where Rom is definitely capable, just historically, having to have error too. Like he can run a triple barrel, and JD knows that. But I think it's pretty telling that JD found a fold.
Pair, no club.
yeah.
2 sevens though for JD, just right back at it.
Raised to 700.
Colin with the J Dewey, maybe a misread. Who knows? This is super strong from a guy like Colin that just hasn't done this a ton tonight. JD knows, like, dude, if I hit my 7 3 ways versus these two guys, I'm getting paid.
Let's fuck him up. Come on.
Shorshi says, respectfully, let's, quote, F him up.
Put them all together, we might catch one.
And it comes a deuce.
Check.
Yeah, one pair
2200.
for everybody here, Shorshi out in front, and
700.
could just come down to who is the more aggressive player on this one for sure. Victory Magician here in the chat says, aside from winning hands, you win money when you fold correctly. That's absolutely right.
We got him.
Jack Deuce, Choctaw Nuts, take it down. Let's go.
Choctaw nuts.
But yeah, I think that's a part of the game that people don't often give enough credit to, or perhaps maybe, I don't know. There's a decent enough emphasis on folding in big spots that is every bit as important as winning and getting paid the maximum when you have a good hand. And it's really tricky to identify like how well you're doing in that department. Like there are analytics and stuff that you can use if you play online and have a large enough data sample where you can look at like the hands that you folded in big spots. You know, you could try to like parse through the data and find those spots and try to put in some analysis. But even then, like you really won't always know if it was the correct fold or not, right? And that's always the sort of the problem with diagnosing folds is if you fold and don't see your opponent's hand, like do you know if you made the right fold? But it's a very big part of playing this game well, and it's certainly something that you know we have to pay attention to and develop like our game in that department.
Yeah, I'm worried about the ref. The NBA ref was really.
I know for a long time I was like on sort of a high of hero calling, right? Because like I'd gotten sort of my
I think you got
like my game had developed to the point where I was starting to understand when people were bluffing, over bluffing in certain spots. So I would hero off with, you know, ace high and such, and was showing down winners and feeling really good about myself. And then I started hero calling with shit in spots where it's like, what are you doing?
Oh, I could have just folded.
Yeah, and then in other spots where it would be like something just wasn't quite right, but I had a really strong hand. Like I was near the top of my range, And I would just
Big
be like,
raise from Cashman.
yeah, let's take a look at this. Thought this was just going to be a bet and either a quick fold or even just maybe a hero call.
Check raise on river with the straight and the flush blockers. Colin kind of under-repping his kings checking turn.
Because it lasted a good while.
If he finds a call here.
7 of diamonds is the key card here for sure.
Dude, this is a pretty, despite results, wow. I was going to say great play.
You heard your speech. He's like into the session.
Colin saying he almost threw it away. Big call on the end with one pair.
Yeah, anyway,
it definitely is. Yeah, check turn definitely opens the door for his opponent to take a lot of probes on the river. And when he checks, it kind of caps him a little bit. Like really strong balanced players are going to still have some check raises there on the end, giving their opponent a little bit of rope. But man, that was a big chunky raise after check line. Kind of tough to sell that one. And
1K to
wasn't able to get it
5K.
through the kings.
You get the logic from Cashman on the end, but yeah, to the point, kind of a tough story to sell.
Yeah, and he's just so far up there with the kings, right? I mean, maybe another hand could fold.
Yeah, so there were some people. There were some people that were in the interview too who were like guys like that.
Love the heart though from Cashman.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they might have actually.
So I interrupted you. You were finishing up your story about how you were on a tear of hero calling people and lighting money on fire.
Yeah, well, so then, then I kind of went through a phase of, like, once I sort of started to understand ranges a little bit better and started to understand that, like, this is one of the best hands I'm ever going to have here. You, like, don't just, like, go to my gut and be like, should I fold to this guy? Because, you know, he just might have the nuts and I have the third nuts or whatever, right? It was like, no, just start to play a little bit more methodically. Well, went a little bit too far and would just be like, oh, no, I'm at the top of range, so I would just call. And then I was just like paying off these all-ins on the river. And it's like, well, we have to remember that as we develop our game and as we start to understand GTO a little bit better, our opponents aren't actually playing GTO. And most of the time when they raise us on the river, especially for all of their chips, they are just under bluffing. And so, you know, kind of had to have the pendulum swing back a little bit to be like, all right, let's keep everything in mind and let's try to approach it from a standpoint that keeps that all at the forefront of our minds and not just like blindly play GTO against someone who isn't playing GTO against us. And so anyways, that was just part of my journey, and I think it's a journey that everybody is on, and we all get to a comfortable place, given the field that we play against, sort of our usual game, our opposition. It just takes us a while to get there. And the trials and the tribulations along the way are our own experiences to deal with.
And now you're independently wealthy as a result of that journey.
I mean, that's one way to put it. I don't know if
I mean, you're going on a cruise, man, really in the middle of the week, the work week.
Okay, life is good. I won't complain. I will certainly acquiesce to that. But independently wealthy, I mean, I guess certainly by the world standards, I am doing pretty well. But it is always crazy when you hear about all the stuff that's happening in the world, particularly as of late, where you've got just massive debt and all of these, banks and things. Just, without going too far down that rabbit hole, it's just like the astronomical amount of dollars that people talk about with all of these things that are happening, and you're like, well, like, I'm good, but like, bro, I got like thousands of dollars. I ain't got no millions, billions, trillions. What are we talking about? How is this real life?
It's crazy.
Right. We are in the fast lane towards a chop pot. ZeFish here does have the jack of diamonds, so a little bit of an edge in this pot, but either player going any place.
Go to Netflix and search Untold. You'll see it. About like 6 or 7 of them. Watch the last of us first. Prioritize.
I need to see that. That's like, I've never really seen something quite that genre, so. Like, yeah, or like, I mean, the only zombie.
Players all in.
Once or twice, bro.
Who's got the combo draw? You?
One time, dumbass.
That would have been me.
I got Jack.
One time, dumb.
Action game.
I had
Action game.
I had a club.
Club's less convincing.
What are you doing going with that?
Yeah.
Go take the charge of Judy's money.
Yeah,
I would have got your boat too. I would have got your boat too. Crazy.
Like I said, that was Judy.
Well, JD would have King Jack there and just scoop.
Yeah.
Isn't it bad and just boom.
We're scaring hand 100 here on the high stakes stream. Only a few minutes left.
Up.
Get those likes in, folks.
Y'all get washed
Make
up.
sure you subscribe to the stream as well.
Footsteps.
I think all the fan folding fucked you up.
Raise to 300.
All right, King Jack suited first, the deuces. Deuce in the window, 7, 8 behind it, no hearts on board. Gonna be tough to get paid. Quick little flourish of the chips into the middle here for ZeFish. Like, yeah, dude, you know, I'm just betting because you checked, and this is my board and not yours, but you could peel one off. That is.
Yes, it's been a pretty sticky group tonight. Like, many like C-bets have been making it to the turn at least, and it comes Jack, perfect for Mad, or perfect for ZeFish really to get paid now.
Yeah, this is gross. This is the same thing that happened before, where it was like,
Yep.
oh, I'll just peel when I'll float it with the king queen. Oh, look at what
Top
I
pair,
found.
good kicker.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Matt, of course, here is loving life. Does still lose to the 9-10s of the world, the flop sets, the 2 pairs, all that stuff, but feeling pretty good about floating the king jack.
A click.
Yeah, this is weird. Yeah, I mean, zig and zag and do whatever you want. I mean, more power to you for sure, but this is definitely going out of bounds a little bit. The min click out of position. Calls, ace on the end. I guess you just go for a small value bet and hope to get paid and not raise, but yeah, that's what he's going to do. 1,500 is the bet.
ZeFish might be able to find a raise. Like, this is just, I mean, what does this on the turn? Like a set of jacks and 10-9 only?
Well, any set could do that. 10-9 for sure. Your bluffs are going to be queen 10s, that were like diamonds, clubs, spades. Certainly anything that's got a good combo draw with clubs could get in there. But yeah, I mean, yeah, ZeFish does have to ask himself, if I raise and get re-raised, am I going to love it enough to pay it off? And so he's just going to call. Yeah, so actually, Mad, sort of sets his price almost to a certain degree, but it's still more money for ZeFish.
ZeFish.
But to your point, like you puke if you get 3-bet after raising it there on river. And so you don't. I guess I don't blame him for the just call in the end because it sucks so bad if you get raised. But I don't know, weird hand.
It was weird. The min click always introduces weirdness, and the small bets on the river. Of course, he was out of position, so small bets, can make some sense. But yeah, dude, the dynamic of that hand, and this happens from time to time too, where you're just like super nutted, and yet you can't really raise because all the hands that are worse than you are going to have a hard time paying, and the hands that are better than you are just going to be like, cool, you reopened the pot, let me jam all in and fucking step on your dick real hard. So it's like you just don't want to go down that road. You just kind of have to take what is given to you, even if it feels like it's not enough. And that's what happened right there.
A little late today.
All right, we are working our way into the last few hands of the evening, so we're going to open up the ranges a little bit. We got some 6-3 off. We got some ace-9 off in here. Let's go.
Top pair with a king.
The stream might have started like 7:05 or something.
And bottom second pair even on the flop with the 6 tray. We're just checking down somehow. What is happening?
Aces and 9s for Colin.
Well, no, like the actual stream. Like usually we start and then there's like a 20-minute delay or whatever. Since we started late, they probably could still put a 15-minute delay. So like, we started at 6:50 today, 5:50 they started the stream.
Wow.
6:10, something like that.
I almost don't believe that Shorshi had king 9 there.
No, we started
but
6.
Yeah.
At the same time, it was multi-way, and it checked all the way through to an ace, and I got bet. So yeah, he probably has one.
Colin winning almost 5,000 tonight as well. Potentially his first night on the stream, I think. So newcomer run good, maybe.
Wait, is that the one where you got like a fight?
Mark Wee, thank you very much. Glad you're appreciating it. Hope everyone else is appreciating the commentary as well
At
as
least this one.
The free poker content that we're doing here on TCH Live Tuesday, 25-25-50 here out of TCH Dallas.
Pretty good game tonight.
Hell yeah, this has been entertaining AF.
Fun spots, a couple of huge pots, and a good cast of characters that have provided the action. Not a ton of raise and take it, not a ton of raise, one call, take it down on the flop. Had a lot of multi-way, which has been fun. Couple brutal coolers as it goes 5 ways. Or 6 ways.
What's happening? He's on the route.
Usually he has to collect within like 8 minutes, otherwise he's not doing a good job.
Exactly. Yeah, sure.
Get the fuck out of here.
All right, everybody with a king. Gut shot up and down, straight flush draw. Happy to hear it, Mitchell. Good. Oh, checks through. King on the end. Why not?
Wow.
Case king.
3-way chop.
Yeah, and given the texture, I'm not sure anybody can really feel too good about betting this for value. Maybe ZeFish can take a little stab. Because would someone that has a 10 or a straight
Check,
actually
yeah.
check here? Yeah. Let's go for a little bit of value. Try to get paid by queen, maybe some sort of random ace 5 or something that just doesn't believe it.
Colin gonna make it 15,000 as he's counting his chips What's happening?
Not clear, is it?
Okay. This is a win if ZeFish can get one fold.
See, the nice thing is that this went check, so so ZeFish can actually have some air balls here that are just like 9 high, and he's like, oh, I just have to bet. Colin knows that, so he can call with a queen or like pocket 8s or something. So JD here can actually call, I think, pretty comfortably, but this does feel awkward. You're like, am I good? Can I be good? With a bet and a call in front of me? I think he settles on the call, though. The price is kind of right. Like, what is he actually, like, quote-unquote, paying off, right? For 1,500? Like, I think he's going to be good enough of the time. Feels weird, but... Understandable that he's going to think this one through. It's still $1,500 after all, but... I love these spots.
Yeah.
It's just so weird.
He's got the right instincts, but he's not sure which way to go with the instincts.
This is like
You just always feel like a sucker. Oh no! He
Folds.
folds.
Wow.
Yes, you folded the best.
I had a king too. No chop. 3-way chop. Nice.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he said he folded the best hand. There's no chance he folds a hand better than a king here. Oh my goodness.
So that was a win for ZeFish. Yeah. Thought he had quads. Read him for quads.
Oh man, that's amazing.
So that's
JD.
probably... Is that the last 2-card hand? Exactly on hand 100? That's very clean, if so.
Yeah, we planned it that way. Ooh, Ram. Not going to Taco Bell, buddy. Down $25. Oh wait, we're going to play another 2-card game. Looks like. Yeah, no, maybe.
100's on. Oh, so we're in bonus time.
There we go. Bonus content coming at you here. 25, 25, 50, 100, and number 101. Let's go.
Raise to 300.
One last time, please.
Calls.
See if we can get a little bit of spice here on the end as we've got maybe the last hand of the stream.
Don't you dare fold, Jay.
No, he's got a real hand. It's time to squeeze. Let's go, Jay. Exact some revenge. Extract some chips. Makes it 1.3K to go. 1,000 on top. And Jay really has not done much of this tonight, and he's short. So I think these players should recognize what he's representing.
I fold. I hate all of them.
Wow, ZeFish is ready to play for Jay's remaining stack. Jay does put the chips in, and it says the pot's 20,000, but it's actually more to the tune of like 7,000. This would still actually put Jay into the net positive.
That'd be
if
so
he can
clutch.
Just hold. Ooh, spicy flop.
Spicy. Oh.
Oh my god. Oh, man. Oof. That would have been a big one.
Nice high flush for ZeFish. That sucks for Jay.
Nice last hands.
I don't hate you guys. You're the best. You guys are the best. All right, perfect.
Pretty much the best scenario that Jay could hope for up against an inferior ace, and he just gets whacked by the run-out. Yeah. Not great.
Not great at all, but entertaining hand. Last 2-card hand of the night, and now we're playing $500 Omaha flip.
GGJ. Wish he could have been in on this one, right? Like he ships that one for 7K, puts it in for 500, maybe gets another spin up. But good game, Jay. Tough running here tonight. You made some fantastic folds over the course of the evening, and yeah, just things just weren't going your way. But
yeah, good game.
take one more spin of the wheel, one more flip of the coin for these players. Gonna be what? Still 8 players in here, so 4K in the middle.
Yeah, they should have spotted Jay. Everyone put in a hundo for him.
Yeah.
Although he probably doesn't need any charity. I think guys playing at this level are probably good to go.
Yeah. No, I concur.
So we shall see who truly is the luckiest of them all. JD won a nice one at the beginning of the night. Was chopped at the halfway point, and we shall see. No rounds of betting, just a flip, not a bomb pot as you see.
I find it interesting that people just like turn. A lot of people in this just seem to turn over all their cards very quickly. We see a few people sort of sweating it, but I've always gotten the most enjoyment out of these where you just sort of slowly turn the cards over and find out like who has the best hand at any given moment. Kind of keep advancing.
At least get the dopamine drip out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we live for. So what, we got a couple players here making 2 pair? No, oh, wheel, sorry, wheel. A couple players with a wheel.
Cashman with a wheel, ZeFish with a wheel. And I guess that's going to do it for us. Hey, folks?
There you go. That's going to wrap us up here. We'll get that final hand chopped in half for those 2 players, and we do want to thank you guys. I am Aaron McAvoy, hanging out with you tonight. Ben Kirby as well. So, Ben, any parting words?
Yeah, appreciate everybody joining us tonight. Really fun stream. Aaron, always a pleasure to commentate with you, and I know everyone learns something from your inside analysis, so really grateful for that. And yeah, everybody tune in tomorrow night for the Wednesday night stream for more of this mid to high stakes action at TCH Live.
Heck yeah. Thank you guys again for hanging out with us this fine evening. Please do make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Tune in tomorrow evening for some more high stakes action here on TCH Live out of Dallas, and we will see you